Steven Spielberg presents Gremlins. Billy Pelser has a nice home.
Billy, is that you?
Yeah, Mom, it's me.
A nice job. A nice girl.
If you're not doing anything this Thursday night, maybe you'd like to go out on a date with me?
I'd love to.
And loving parents who are about to give him
You're gonna like this. No, don't shake it. We're gonna have to open it now. It won't wait till Christmas.
the most unusual gift he ever got.
What is it?
It's your new pet.
Come on, Barney, be a good dog. My dad gave it to me.
But there are a few things to keep in mind. If you expose it to the light, you may hurt it. If you get it wet, it will multiply.
All that from water? They got wet?
Yeah, plain water.
And most important, no matter how much they beg, never let them eat after midnight. Because when they do, they change. They become clever, mischievous,
What's going on here?
and dangerous.
Gremlins, huh? Little monsters.
Right.
Hundreds of them.
Well, I don't know, maybe thousands.
They've been here too. Billy, what are these things? Where do they come from?
Look, I know it sounds crazy, I know. But in a few hours, you're gonna have a major disaster on your hands.
Gremlins, directed by Joe Dante. They'll be expecting you.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Back to the Past podcast. On this episode, we are going to talk about Gremlins and Gremlins 2, The New Batch. This is Kevin, joined by
Brad.
and
Justin.
And, we don't quite have as many rules for you as the old gentleman in the beginning of the first one does when it comes to Gizmo and Mogwai, but I guess the only rule would just be to hopefully you enjoy this. So, guys, Gremlins 1, Gremlins 2. Now, I know Gremlins 1 came out definitely before you were born, Brad. I always forget with you, Justin. It's like right around the time you were born.
Same year, just a couple months later.
Okay, so you obviously did not see this in theaters.
No.
Who gives you that idea?
Even though it was only PG, which we'll get into the whole ratings thing after a while. This was actually the first movie that I went and seen in theaters was Gremlins 1.
Wow.
Oh.
Yes. So, 1984. Here I am, a child of 8. And I actually remember... I have good memories from this day. It was a day that my mom, who actually took me to go see a movie. It was just kind of odd. This was, obviously, it's in the summer. This movie released in June 8th. So I don't remember exactly when I seen it. I knew it was that summer, so it was June or July. And there was a theater there in South County, at the South County Mall, in that parking lot that is at, what is that, Lemay Ferry? Like right there where, you guys probably know where the new Raising Cane's is.
Mm-hmm.
So, like right there by JCPenney's.
Oh, there was a theater there.
Yeah, there was. It might have just been like a couple screens. So not, a huge theater. It's not like a Marcus Ronnie's theater with 20-something screens. But, this was a great first experience and just getting a chance to go see a movie in a theater for the first time. So, totally different experience. Now, you guys got to see... No, you didn't get to see Gremlins 2. Gremlins 2 New Batch, that's what, 1990?
Yep.
So, Brad
I was 2.
So, obviously you didn't go see that one.
No.
Justin, do you know if you got to go see that in theater?
No, I did not.
Okay. So,
Nope.
'cause it was probably, I can't remember, was Gremlins 2, was that a PG-13?
Yes.
Okay, so they did move that one to PG-13.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Gremlins 1 made $12.5 million that opening weekend, which it actually opened the same weekend as Ghostbusters, which I had no idea that happened.
That's an awesome weekend.
Exactly. And I think it was about $1 million or so behind Ghostbusters. So Ghostbusters won that opening weekend, which,
As they should.
yeah, I can see that. And Gremlins actually made $153.3 million approximately worldwide on an estimated budget of $11 million.
Oof, hand over fist.
Yeah, so they did really well with this story.
And I know that, I mean, clearly with 11 million at the time, it's a decent size for the time, but I know they weren't expecting to make that much.
No.
They would have liked to have not only hit even, but maybe double their money, right?
Right.
And
yeah.
here, 150.
Yeah.
It's no wonder eventually they decided to make a second.
Right.
Well, they decided to make a second a lot earlier than it would seem, but there were problems behind the scenes.
Yeah, which we'll get into.
Mm-hmm.
Rotten Tomatoes gives it an 84% critic and 78% audience score. So, pretty positive.
Which is fascinating to me because I have never talked to a person who dislikes Gremlins, at least the first one, or doesn't like it, so it kind of surprises me. I mean, 78's a good audience score, but I'm kind of surprised it's not higher.
Yeah, I would have put that higher than the critic score.
I was going to say, typically when we are talking about these, the audience usually likes them way more than the critics.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, directed by Joe Dante, written by Chris Columbus, produced by Michael Fennell, Kathleen Kennedy, Steven Spielberg, and Frank Marshall. So the last three names are executive producers on this.
Very popular producing names.
Yeah, definitely throwing Steven Spielberg in there, fresh off E.T. and Jaws and all this stuff. So he's had a nice little run going on, being involved in things. Amblin Entertainment, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, so got a lot of good stuff going on here. Apparently Joe Dante was doing, he was kind of in some rough shape with, what was it, The Howling or something like that I believe was like his previous project that he hadn't gotten paid for or something like that.
Something like that, which is, I mean, if you look at the history of like werewolf movies, The Howling's considered top 5 for just about everybody.
Yeah, something closed down and they ended up not paying him or something like that. So I think the story is that he was just down to, very low amounts of personal cash reserves when this script or whatever popped up on his radar, that he got involved in it.
He's from what I understand, had a few strange conflicts with the Hollywood community here and there.
Yeah.
So it's not a surprise.
Right. Oh. But no, I think things were done very well here. This is actually set in, was it Kingston Falls?
That sounds right, yeah.
I always want to say like Kingsford, but I know that's charcoal. And
Got a little barbecue on your mind, huh?
I am getting a little hungry. But no, Kingston Falls. The movie opens with Rand Peltzer over there in Chinatown looking for a gift for his son. who we come to find out later is Billy. And, you're looking through some of the deleted scenes, you see that he's popped into a couple other little shops and has other interactions before he meets this young boy in the street. He's like, yeah, I'm looking for a gift for my son. He's like, oh no, we've got everything. My grandfather's shop has everything. So he takes him down in this little alley and downstairs in this little shop, and
it's where you would expect to go to have your spleen taken out and then be set into a tub of ice.
Exactly. That's where you would wake up. You're like, yeah, he walks in there and things are making noise. The old man is Mr. Wang, I think. Mr. Wing is behind the desk. He's smoking and stuff like that. And Peltzer is talking with him. He's looking around and he's like, just looking for something special. And then he goes into this whole thing about, I'll tell you one thing I don't see that you have in here. And he goes into this whole spiel. This is like a running thing throughout the movie about the bathroom buddy.
Which, as a kid, I thought was a kind of a neat tool, but I didn't understand that they were kind of poking fun at it because it never worked.
Right. Yeah. In this instance, the toothpaste proceeds to squirt all over his shirt and jacket and everything like that. And Rand Peltzer is played by Hoyt Axton, who has a wonderful voice. I would say he's probably best known from the country music scene as being a songwriter and a singer and stuff like that.
Huh.
So seeing him in an acting role, I would imagine, was probably surprising for some people, but I would imagine he probably had some other little roles too. But just his voice is kind of soothing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think it was last year. I think I was watching all of the WKRP in Cincinnati, and he shows up in one of the episodes, and they actually let him sing a song, like the whole song. And I kept thinking, I'm like, boy, I know this guy from something, and I just could not think of what it was. And well, look it up, and I'm like, oh my God, he's in Gremlins.
Yeah.
Like, of course. I looked up other things, like, yeah, that's nice, but Gremlins.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, he had a lot of roles in different movies, whether he was just as a singer. He was in the Bionic Woman TV series in a couple episodes as a performer. He was on the Elvis on Tour.
I know I haven't seen him in much, but it's like the few times he ever pops up, he's like, it's that guy. But then he starts singing, and you just kind of forget, and you're like, man, this guy. I mean, even though that brand of music isn't exactly my forte, like I can get behind it. I mean, he's good.
Yeah, very soothing voice.
Mm-hmm.
Very soothing voice. Anyway, he proceeds to try negotiating with Mr. Wing about Gizmo, the mogwai that he hears singing in the shop. And he's like, what's this? And he's like, I've got to have it. This is going to be the perfect gift. And Mr. Wing's like, nope, you're not ready or nothing like that. Not for sale. And he turns to the little boy and like, I thought you said everything was for sale. And so the old man walks away. Kid says, hey, just meet me outside. And they end up having this little back alley deal. And, as Peltzer's walking away back towards the camera or whatever, down the street, you hear the rules, Keep away from bright light, sunlight will kill them, no water. They don't say what'll happen if you get them wet. And then they also don't say what'll happen if you feed them after midnight, which you're not supposed to do. So they leave the other two off, which I thought was kind of odd.
Well, and also, I mean, the rules are odd in the sense that, don't get them wet. And you're thinking, well, but what if it gets thirsty? Like, how does that
Right, how does that work?
Yeah. Like, I understand in his case, feeding after midnight, that's one thing. But I totally understand not giving a little kid anything to drink after a certain point.
Right.
I get that.
Yeah, but in this instance, don't get him wet. What is it? If he takes a drink of something, if water gets on his lips, it doesn't make him reproduce or anything, or what?
I have a lot of questions at this point, but
and I think everybody does. It's just one of those little plot holes that you're like, I don't think we can fill this one.
Unless you're just a kid and you're like, oh, that all makes sense.
Right, yeah.
There's nothing to really think about here.
Right. And this being geared towards kids, I mean, it's kind of a comedy horror kind of film.
Almost like a dark comedy, but more geared towards the creatures.
Right. Yeah, the human characters are just kind of there.
Yeah, they're pretty two-dimensional.
Yeah. Yeah, so Rand gets home and, Merry Christmas, all this stuff. Here's your gift or whatever. And, Billy starts shaking the box. And Billy's played by Zach Galligan. And this is like one of his first big roles that I can think of. If he really even had other big roles outside of Gremlins. And he's shaking the box. He's like, oh, no, don't shake that or whatever. And gets the wife to turn the lights down, dim the lights. And Billy proceeds to open the box, and out pops this cute little Mogwai Gizmo, little white and brown creature. And Mom grabs the Polaroid camera. Now, back when we were kids, Polaroid was the thing. That was the camera. Was a Polaroid instant camera. And the flash obviously is so bright, and then that's when Dad wants to go ahead and start explaining the rules or mentioning the rules, because obviously he doesn't know what'll happen the other two. And and then this is how everything starts. So what do you guys think about the intro and how this is all getting set up and stuff? Not all at once.
I was just trying to. I hadn't really thought about it, but since you mention it, it's a lot of people that I read up on and who talk about films and stuff. Like they always point at this movie as being kind of like a structure-wise, almost like a perfectly made movie because it hits all the beats correctly and at the right times, and you're never bored. And the intro of it, they never really talk about the beginning part of it, but now that you mention it, it sets up the characters in such a way that the people who are driving the story, you kind of even though a lot of them are pretty basic, you know exactly what their motivations are, you know exactly what they're trying to do. It's as quick to the point of getting the Mogwai to the family as possible. Like with the deleted scenes where he's going to other stores, I get why they had that, but I'm glad they cut that because you don't really need that.
Right.
You only really need that store to be in service of him getting the creature in order to bring it home. You don't really need anything more than that. And I think that's one of the brilliant things of this movie is there's a lot of stuff that you could have put in this movie to really bog it down, and they cut all that out, and they're like, no, we're sticking to what drives this movie, and they're not going to the movie to see people shopping for creatures. They're going to see the movie for the creatures.
Right. Yeah, I think I read that this movie was originally intended to be over 2 hours long.
It was also meant to be a hardcore horror movie, too.
Right.
Like no comedy, like strictly like people were supposed to be eaten and torn apart, and I think the dog was supposed to get eaten at one point. And...
yeah, Barney.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at some of the deleted scenes again just reiterates the fact that there was so much more that they had shot and, could have thrown in this film. And, I dug out my story records from Hardy's, which we'll talk about later. And I was looking back through the first one, and that's how the first one opens. It opens with Rand Peltzer talking with this Chinese woman in her shop, which is in one of the deleted scenes, which is where he actually meets the kid that takes him to Grandpa's shop. So the written story, based on these little books, had different stuff in there that wasn't in the movie. So obviously I didn't pay no attention to it when I was a kid. I don't remember this being in the movie. But then again, it wasn't like I could just easily go watch the movie again right after I'd seen it either. So But like I said, it was set in Kingston Falls, which, if you're a fan of Back to the Future, you start seeing a lot of similarities.
I had to look it up right away.
Yeah,
I immediately noticed the clock tower and the movie theater at the very end, and all the shops that kind of do that big U shape in that filming location, which, well, it's just a backlot. Universal backlot?
Yes.
Yeah. Which we had just been to in October. So that was kind of cool to realize that Back to the Future is also filmed there.
Right. Which Back to the Future comes out a year later. And we've already referenced two films that we've already done episodes on, Ghostbusters and Back to the Future. So, nice little reference for people to go back to and listen. But
and there'll be more.
But yeah, just seeing this was just, whenever Billy is coming up to, because he's got this Volkswagen Beetle, and this is where we get our first interaction with the neighbor, Murray Fetterman.
Gremlins. You gotta watch out for the foreigners, because they plant gremlins in their machinery. That's the same gremlins brought down our planes in the big one.
Big one.
That's right. World War II. Good old WWII. They're still shipping them over here. They put them in the cars, they put them in the TV, they put them in the stereos and the radios you stick in your ears, they put them in your watches. They got little teeny gremlins for the watches.
I don't think it's such a good idea that you drive home. Why don't you walk home?
Katie, I think maybe I'll walk home.
Good.
That's a nice night.
Futterman. And, Murray's is not a big fan of foreign cars or foreign anything.
Which, when I was watching that, he had referenced something about what looked like a Volkswagen Beetle freezing up in the dead of winter. And I'm like, now, wait a second. If this is a classic Volkswagen, it should have been air-cooled, and there is no freezing up. So right away, I was like, wait a minute.
Well, you being a car guy, you're going to notice things like that.
So I wasn't sold that was a Volkswagen, because, maybe it wasn't. But then again, what else was shaped like that at that time?
Yeah, that's a Volkswagen Beetle, as much as I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. He's talking about his Kentucky Harvester, his little... And I really don't know why he's got this thing. It's not like they've got this huge plot of land where he's going to go out farming and stuff. But he's got this Kentucky Harvester tractor or something with the plow on the front of it. And he's like, yeah, that thing, I've had it for 15 years, never once a problem. It's
one of those small town mentalities. It's just really driving home what kind of town you're looking at here.
Definitely.
What kind of people you're dealing with. That small scene says it all.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I think we've all had one of those kind of slightly older neighbors that kind of, not necessarily cantankerous, but very firm in their beliefs of certain topics and things.
Or family members.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so Billy works at a bank, and I'm trying to remember, because the scene later with Gerald, who is played by Judge Reinhold, doesn't he say that Billy is like 21?
Ooh.
Because I have that scene at Dory's bar, and I'm wanting to say that Gerald says he's 23 and he's going to be taking over for the bank boss when he leaves, and look at you, kind of no sense of future or anything, just being a drawing an artist and as a bank teller. But I just say that because at the beginning, Rand says that he needs this gift for his teenage son. Like, I don't think Billy's still a teenager. And I don't know if this is just where from the script to screenwriting to actual, filming, I don't know if this is where some of the details change, that Billy was actually ended up being older than he was originally supposed to be.
Maybe a continuity error.
Yeah. Anyway, Billy's got Barney.
Or it could be or it could be where the drinking age isn't 21.
That's true too, because drinking probably back then I think was 18 at the time.
Because I know some states was 18, but I don't remember when they changed.
Yeah. I just could have swore though that he referenced Billy as being like 21 or something like that. Being not a teenager, but I could be wrong.
So, shucks, we'll just have to watch it again.
Yeah, maybe. And so he's bringing Barney to the bank, which I'm still trying to figure out why he's taking Barney to the bank where he works. And he's running late. And Barney's the dog, so bring your pet to work day. I don't know, it's kind of interesting.
Keep them under the desk in front of you. And...
Yeah, I mean, where else are you going to keep a dog at a bank, I guess?
Although I will say, like, maybe that's like a way ahead of its time, because I know there's quite a few offices now that are like dog friendly and people bring their dogs to work. But I don't think that was common practice in 1984. I could be wrong. But...
Right. I don't know. I don't remember that except at like gas stations or something.
Yeah.
Or auto repair garages.
Have your old hound dog hanging out.
Right. And then here's where we also meet the love interest, Phoebe Cates, playing Kate. And at this point, Phoebe Cates is probably best known from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Yeah, I mean, Phoebe Cates still early 80s Phoebe Cates. Even dressed the way that she was kind of dressed in this movie, it's still like, she's still pretty. But not exactly the kind of relationships you would expect to see. And then we get introduced to Miss Deagle, who is played by Polly Holliday, who I think is probably best known for playing Flo, the redheaded waitress on the 70s TV show Alice.
Which is referenced in Dumb and Dumber.
Okay, I don't remember that.
Whenever they're sitting in the diner and the waitress comes up and he's mentioning, like, excuse me, Flo? And he asks about the soup du jour. that was one of those things as a kid. I was just like, yeah, I don't get it, because he even mentions, Flo, like from the TV show, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. And then a few years later, Nick at Night's on, and Alice, and I'm like, oh, Flo, okay, now I get the joke.
Yeah, it was a show I remember watching on TV. One of her most popular lines was "Kiss my grits."
Mm-hmm.
So, Miss Deagle is playing like the bad lady here in town, where I guess she's like this real estate lady. She just has all this money, and I think she's borrowing very heavily from Miss Gulch in The Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
Borrowing very heavily from here, because she storms in and confronts Billy because of the dog. Or she's wanting to do something and she mentions the dog, and it just becomes a whole thing. And Ms. Deagle is one of those very memorable characters for this movie.
Yeah, she kind of reminds me of the character out of Mrs. Doubtfire at the very beginning, where all of the barnyard animals are eating her flowers, and she's just, it's the last straw, and she, calls the mom finally, and is like, oh, they're over here having a party. And they weren't supposed to be, obviously. But, yeah, she kind of reminds me of that old lady.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a really good role that she did. It's like later in the movie, or actually, no, this is at that same part. She's saying something, because is this the time that she's carrying in the snowman head?
Yep.
Yeah, sets it on the counter. Barney unties himself and jumps over the counter and kind of knocks her down, and the snowman head onto the floor, and then she kind of goes into this, oh, my heart, and so she threatens Billy about Barney. Something else.
I mean, I know she's cartoony and like over the top, like villainous in that like very old school kind of way, which I kind of enjoy. But it's frightening that whenever somebody wants to threaten you with, "I'm going to take your dog and put it down." I mean, that's horrific almost.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, keep in mind the theater's loaded with kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
there's a recurring theme with that throughout this movie. Remember, kids are watching this.
Right. Here I was, 8. It's like, oh, that's not cool. Yeah.
It was a different time.
It was a very different time.
Yeah.
We turned out okay.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, yeah, this is also where well-known Western actor Harry Carey Jr., you see him in there. He's in the bank, his beard and everything, white hair.
And speaking of Back to the Future, he's one of the 3 old codgers in the Back to the Future 3.
Yep.
Which I guess that would be later on, but another Back to the Future reference.
Right. Yeah, I think his first appearance in this film is at the Christmas tree lot, when the police chief wants to try to get the guy running the Christmas trees lot to give him a free tree for down at the station. And he bumps into Corey Feldman, who is inside a tree, I guess, wearing a tree. Yeah, Pete. So he helps take a tree out to somebody's car, and I don't know, it's just interesting, because then you have this interesting relationship between Pete and Billy.
I don't know that I still understand that, but I definitely didn't as a kid.
Right.
I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah. Now, I'm just guessing that, again, this goes back to that continuity kind of thing where Billy was supposed to be younger.
Or it could be another thing, which I know was big more in the 60s than the 80s, but it's like, hey, we're trying to appeal to kids, so we should have a kid in it so the kids can identify themselves in that character so they could be the part of the movie.
Right. And
I don't know which is weirder.
Well, Chris Columbus wrote Goonies, didn't he?
I know he did Home Alone.
Yeah, let me double check, because I want to say that he was the writer for the Goonies, which kind of has that connection there with Corey Feldman of him being in Goonies.
Actually, I shouldn't say he did Home Alone. He directed Home Alone. Obviously, Hughes wrote it.
Let's see, Chris Columbus. He's known for a couple of the Harry Potter films. And let's go to the writer. Yeah, he did the... Yeah, he did Goonies. He did the screenplay. So, yeah, that explains the Corey Feldman getting this role. Which felt, I mean, he's not in the film very long. He's really only in there for just a handful of scenes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like once everything switches over to, you know, he's the one that accidentally spills water on Gizmo and creates the other ones. The other Mogwai.
Damn kids.
I know. Yeah.
Well, that was a big year for Feldman because he also did... well, he's in a lot of the fourth Friday the 13th movie also.
Mm. Yeah, he's had a nice little run there in the 80s for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so things just kind of go south at that, and Billy's upset with Miss Deagle and threatening the dog, and so he brings Pete over to the house and to show off Gizmo, who, again, Gizmo is voiced by Howie Mandel.
Still blows my mind.
I know, it really is kind of mind-blowing. And takes him up to his room, which is up in the attic. So he's kind of got the entire attic all to himself. You know, he's an artist. He's working on all these different art projects. So he's got these art supplies around, and he's got his
which sets up the second movie, actually.
Right. Yep. So old Pete accidentally knocks over the cup of water with the paintbrushes in it. Gets some water on Gizmo, and then we have the asexual reproduction starting. You know, all these little fur balls start popping off his back. And they all look a little angry. They look a little different than Gizmo.
They're a little strange.
Yeah. Especially Stripe, the one with the little mohawk. Which I don't know why I always want to call him Spike.
Oh, I do too.
It's like, no, Stripe. He's Stripe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so they're just checking that out, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And tell the dad, and the dad immediately kind of thinks, "Oh, this could be the perfect invention. We can have the Peltzer pet." And he's just looking at ways to try to be a successful inventor. Because throughout this movie, nothing that he ever works on is worth a shit. Was it the egg cracker?
I mean, it reminds me of a bunch of get rich quick kind of schemes almost.
Yeah.
He always has these just a bunch of different inventions.
Mm-hmm.
But he never tries to, it seems, that he never tries to fully improve on them. He tries it. If it doesn't work out, he moves on to the next thing.
Yeah.
It's like those as seen on TV things.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, something you would see on Home Shopping Club or something. Now that scene with Billy at the little thing that's supposed to crack the eggs. It's got that little chicken head or whatever, and eggs are supposed to come down, and the thing's supposed to just crack the egg, and the look on his face when his mom tells him he has to do that, to crack the eggs or whatever. It's like, oh God, I don't know about this thing.
Yeah, they've got like that coffee thing that has sludge that comes out, and
the juicer that explodes everywhere.
Yeah.
They have the phone thing that's supposed to auto answer your phone, and so you can do like voice chat, but it doesn't actually answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that.
Which, while both movies kind of comment on futuristic things, it almost seems like none of the things really ever work in either of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is kind of humorous.
Right. Yeah, that is that is funny. Yeah, I think my favorite invention thing that like is a complete failure was the phone, because she tries it. I mean, she tries her damnedest to get that thing to work when the dad is calling. And she even tells, "Oh no, it's working fine," or whatever, and because she finally just picks the damn thing up because it's not picking up the way it's supposed to. But the odd thing is, though,
yeah, she's definitely one of those.
I mean, Dad's.
Well, I was just gonna say she's definitely one of those like, oh, that's nice, honey. Yeah, sure, it's working.
Right.
No, bless his heart.
Yeah, exactly.
He tries so hard.
Yep. I mean, Dad's never home.
Yeah, humoring him.
So, Dad's always gone. It's like he has this big convention, the big inventors convention, and this is actually set at like Christmas time. So it's a very odd timing for Christmas, because as we all know,
I was just about to say you would more expect to see something like that in the summertime, because you want those inventions for Christmas, right?
Yeah, you would kind of think. Yeah, or you would expect to see something like that at the CES show.
Right.
Oh. But anyway, the new Mogwai are a little mischievous, and they're noisy and they're playful and kind of mess with the dog.
Conniving. I mean, they they tie the dog up outside
in the Christmas lights.
Yeah, in the Christmas lights. That's kind of dark.
Very.
It's cold. There's snow.
And of course, Billy thinks it's Miss Deagle. How could they get to him? The door was locked. And you definitely know the door was locked because nobody got in the front door, because you would have heard the sword fall.
That is one of the gags that always gets me. That sword falls almost like 4 times before that finally pays off, and every time it falls, I'm always like, why do they have that in there if they're not going to do anything with that? And then every time that sword falls, I always laugh.
Mm. Yeah, it's kind of like
I forgot about that till I had rewatched it. First thing I thought, I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a doorbell.
Yeah.
So another Back to the Future reference is the mom is played by Frances Lee McCain, who played Elaine's mom in Back to the Future.
Huh.
So she had a nice little 2-year run here. But I'm sure she did some other interesting roles as well. And then we have, let's see, so we've already established the other Mogwai are around, and they eventually trick Billy into
feeding them after midnight.
Right. So they cut the power cord to his clock. Instead of just unplugging it, they cut the cord.
Which I want to say, this part's kind of brilliant because you have one instance where I think he showed his science teacher one of them, and he's doing some tests, and it looks like, oh, he stayed up pretty late. But then they cut back to Billy, and the clock is before midnight, whereas over at the other guy, it was like 2 a.m. And it's like, well, what are we doing? Is this a little time travel here? And then you realize, oh, no, he got tricked, and they had cut the cord.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they'd stayed up late all watching TV, and Gizmo and Billy just fall asleep after the little mogwai of eating all the chicken. Gizmo didn't want any. It's a good, smart little mogwai.
I wonder what his gremlin would look like.
I don't know.
Well, you know, it's funny you mention that because the original plan was for him to turn into the evil gremlin that they ended up having to create a Stripe.
Right.
Prior to that, he basically was going to turn into Stripe.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, no, he's too cute. That we can't do that. So
Right.
they had to create a new villain, essentially.
Yeah, they were definitely right in doing so because I definitely had a Gizmo doll as a kid growing up, for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, marketing and being able to sell toys and things like that. If you've got separate things, that worked out good for merchandising.
And we love cute little furry creatures.
Oh,
Right.
I mean, one of my favorite moments of cute little furry creatures is the one scene where there's one on the outside of the box and there's one on the inside of the box, and it's just for a second, but they're knocking at the side and listening like there's something in there.
Right.
And knocking at each other.
Yeah, the interaction between all the Mogwai, and even whenever they turn all into gremlins later, it's just the playfulness and mischievousness is just really fun to watch.
Also, a bit of movie magic. I didn't realize how much stop motion they used in the first one, like claymation, stop motion. It's kind of littered throughout the movie, I noticed, especially watching on the Blu-ray. I mean, it really starts to show through, watching on a big TV, Blu-ray, little sharper definition than what it was intended for, versus the old CRT TVs that would kind of hide a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing with the, what you would say is CGI is really when all the gremlins are coming up the street after, being produced in the YMCA pool.
Yeah, and I had realized that was all miniatures and claymation, and I was like, wow, that's actually kind of cool still.
Yeah. Yeah, because Gizmo was animatronic, because I think that really pissed off a lot of the crew because the Gizmo kept breaking down.
Yeah. I mean, you could definitely see a quality jump from the first movie to the second movie for Gizmo, as well as, just the Gremlins in general. But, yeah, it definitely looked a little rough around the edges on the first movie.
I mean, heck, even
there's times you can see the crew in the shot, even if you look close enough.
Yeah, looking at Gizmo throughout this movie, his appearance or the look of him changes so many different ways.
Yeah.
And I guess that's just because of the different models that they were using for him, that there were so many differences. Yeah, I don't know, it's cute. He's wearing his little Santa hat and all that stuff, and he plays the music, and he sings and does all the cute little noises. And I remember that was one of the things that my mom would always kind of kid about. She would say bright light and stuff like that.
Oh, we would do that so much as a kid. I still reference that. Maybe not as much, but I definitely remember referencing that quite a bit as a kid.
Yeah.
Hence the tinted windows and the dark sunglasses.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't want to melt.
Yeah. Yeah, so Mogwai eat the chicken. They wake up the next morning, and now we've got the cocoon. Now we're in the metamorphosis stage and all that stuff.
Very alien-like.
Very, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can definitely tell there's a big change happening. Going from cute and fuzzy, cuddly to something nasty is going to come out of this. And this is the same time, that at the school, the science teacher, that's what, Mr. Hansen, science teacher?
I don't remember his name.
Well, I don't know.
But he leaves a ham sandwich and, he withdraws blood or whatever from the Mogwai, and you just tell that Mogwai's not too happy about that. He's going to hold a grudge about that one.
Yeah, in fact, he might draw blood back.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think this is the first time we hear yum yum. Whenever he sees the ham sandwiches left out. I'm like, why would you leave a sandwich out like that? But that's
Because
all part
of
of
the
the
movie,
movie,
of course.
Right.
Also, he didn't know the rules. I don't think he ever explained the rules to the science teacher.
Yeah, I can't remember.
He's just like, look at this thing. I got wet and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, that's fascinating. I'll do some tests. Typical 80s, I'm going to run some tests or whatever.
Yep.
And doesn't explain the rest of the rules. Leaves the ham sandwich because where else is it going to go?
Right.
And bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
Well, and you can also understand this being small town because we mentioned earlier it's kind of that small town and the way people are. If this was a larger place, clearly he'd be going to like a university science department or a science thing, but he goes to the high school science teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, who's clearly not going to have any experience with this.
No.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny how that all is all playing out. So
he's trying to root out the gremlin with a candy bar, and
oh gosh,
I mean it would work for me.
Yeah, shoot, yeah, give me a candy bar.
Mm-hmm.
Did you happen to catch which candy bar he was using?
Is it Snickers or Milky Way?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I wanted to say it was a Snickers or a Milky Way. I can't remember for sure. But after the teacher says, "Oh, they've hatched," and he called Billy or whatever. Billy calls his mom and lets him know, "Hey, they've hatched, and you need to get out of the house." At that point, it's a little too late. And this is where Mom kind of becomes a badass.
Yeah, I totally forgot how much so.
That is one of the great scenes of this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she starts coming back down the stairs, and you start hearing Nat King Cole. Which is it's a great song because again this is a Christmas. Well, I don't know. Is this really a Christmas movie? It's kind of like the Die Hard.
Oh
thing.
yeah, no. This is a Christmas movie. So is Die Hard. Fight me. It's during Christmas time, and in fact, there is Christmas music.
There's
and
a lot of Christmas music.
Pretty sure that's about the only qualifications we need to make a Christmas movie.
Okay. So she's coming down the stairs and hear Nat King Cole singing. She slides into the kitchen, and she sees one of the gremlins just sitting there eating gingerbread cookies. And she ends up, that's the one I think she tosses into the blender or whatever.
Sure. It's a blender thing.
Right, it just kind of looks like a blender. And another one ends up in the microwave. And, microwaves then were obviously a lot larger than microwaves now. I mean, I still remember the microwave we had as our first one was huge compared to what we have, now, some 30 some odd years later.
I'm just kind of surprised with the whole setting up that none of his inventions ever work. Like, I'd kind of like to have seen more of her using his inventions, not in the way they're meant to actually get rid of the gremlins.
Right.
But at the same time, cooking one alive, I'll take that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you really didn't know what would happen if you put anything in the microwave like that. And that was definitely one of those scenes that made people start questioning, why is this PG?
Yeah, because 8-year-olds are watching this.
Yeah, I really hope no animals, no kids got any bright ideas.
Right. Yeah. And then I liked how whenever she was getting ready to go out to the living room, she doesn't grab just one knife, she grabs multiple knives.
Right tool for the right job.
Yeah. And, she sees the stocking hanging by the chimney moving, so she thinks there's one in there. And it ended up just being a kind of a trick toy robot. It was moving around. She kind of backs into the Christmas tree, and there's a gremlin in there that it and the tree falls on top of her, and Billy comes home, and this is where the swords come into play.
Mm-hmm.
As he decapitates
Great payoff.
it. Yeah. So he decapitates the gremlin, saves the mom, and the head ends up perfectly on top of the logs in the fireplace. And it's just burning, making the noise.
Kids watch this.
Right.
Right. Yeah, so he takes mom over to the Futtermans. Which Dick Miller, I mean, again, I know I mentioned it earlier. Dick Miller did such a good job as Murray. He was so funny in this. So they so Billy ends up. Is this about the time that now we've got Kate's working at the Dory's bar? No, it's not. Anyway, they chase out because Stripe is the last one, and he gets out of the house and just runs off into the snow. And snow is made out of what?
Well, I believe it's made out of water, but if you're on a movie set, maybe it's potato starch.
Okay. So anyway,
especially in Southern California.
All right. So I don't know if this is just at this point of the movie, if you can only reproduce with water if it's on your back or something.
Liquid water.
Yeah, not water in its solid form, I guess.
Or in its gaseous form, of which we breathe in.
Yeah. Yeah, so Billy, I think at this point he had found Gizmo in the laundry chute, I think.
Puts him in his backpack?
Yep. And takes off after Stripe. Follows him to the YMCA, and there you go. And they have their little interaction, and Stripe ends up cannonballing into the pool.
I really love that scene, actually.
Yeah.
Because you already know that they can't get wet. And he cannonballs into a pool.
Right.
Like, it's like watching a car crash.
Yeah.
You just can't look away.
Yeah. And if you look at it from a structure-wise, like this movie just continues the escalation. And first you think it's just going to be like okay, so there's just a couple of gremlins, and Mom took care of most of them, so you got the one, so you just got to get the one. And whenever that happens, it's like, oh, now we got a huge problem on our hands.
Yeah.
And it just continues to escalate. And it's whenever, no matter how many times I see this movie, whenever I see that scene, it always, there's a little voice in my head that just goes, oh no, now what? I know it's going to happen, but it still always gets me like, oh no.
Yep. And now Gremlins are kind of just taking over the little town.
And that's where the serious comedy starts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, they're doing the caroling and stuff like that. That's playing with the stoplights.
The bar
which
scene.
is actually, which, going back to where Gremlins, like the whole notion of like the World War II with the Gremlins, that would be like anything that would malfunction, they would blame it on Gremlins.
Yep.
And there's a very infamous Looney Tunes cartoon, Gremlins from the Kremlin, from way back. But I love those scenes that they put those in, because it's like, that's the very definition of what people think of as Gremlins. And so you've got Futterman, who the whole time's rambling about Gremlins back in World War II and blah. And I'm glad that they put in those references to that, where it's not just these creatures creating havoc. Like that's the very definition of what Gremlins do, is creating havoc.
Yep. Yeah, it's actually a funny cartoon. Seeing the little gremlin walking around on Bugs Bunny's shoulder and stuff like that. But yeah, seeing Mrs. Deagle, she's a cat hoarder. She's got a whole bunch of cats there.
Crazy cat lady.
Yep. And she hears the Christmas carolers, which, if you watch again the deleted scenes for this first movie, you see Stripe, kind of dancing along in a way, just kind of bobbing his head as real carolers are singing, and he's just hiding out there in the snow. And then you have a few other gremlins end up caroling on Deagle's front porch. Then the other gremlin gets in and messes with her stair lift chair, or whatever it is, that would carry her up and down this big old house. And yeah, it's funny. And watching her fly out the window after seeing the painting that she flies by, the eyes are like looking to the left as she goes by.
Christmas carolers. I hate Christmas carolers. Screeching voice, little blue sniffers. I warned you, Brad! What are they? They're here. Oh, they've come for me. I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready.
My God, Fry.
It's good. But at this point, Billy has already tried to warn the police chief and his partner, who is played by Jonathan Banks, who most people know for his role in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, and so Deputy Brent is his name. And these two are actually pretty funny. You got Fred, I think's the sheriff, and Brent is the deputy. And they're driving along. They see Miss Deagle come flying out of her window. And I guess this is also kind of reference back to be more of the Wicked Witch of the East, with the chair is just laying on its back and you just see her legs kind of sitting straight up. It's kind of funny.
Also, before they had even gotten there, they were drinking back at the station, or at least the sheriff was.
Oh, yeah.
And Brent says he wants to drive, and the sheriff's like, I'm going to drive. I'm the sheriff.
Yep. No, it was pretty good interactions between the two. After they see Deagle, then they see the one guy that's dressed as Santa, and they're having that little interaction that, isn't that so-and-so? He plays Santa every year.
Yeah, and isn't he like collapsing like right out their window? And he's like, "You gotta say," and they just roll up the window.
Yeah, they just roll up the window, and deputy's like, "I'm ready to go back to the station, Frank, I'm ready to go back to the station. Let's go." And then he just starts totally losing his mind, and at this point, one of the other gremlins has already, cut the brake lines, so what's getting ready to happen here. So they take off and end up crashing. It's just... oh, it's good. And we haven't mentioned, is it Rockin' Ricky, the radio DJ?
No, I don't think so.
The people are calling in and on the radio, and what was that, another one of Rockin' Ricky's fans? Hey, you're not a Rockin' Ricky fan? The gremlins attack him. Oh. And I think that's actually when the deputy and sheriff start taking Billy somewhat serious on their shit going down in town. They're just trying to convince them that, cute, cuddly little thing like Gizmo is going to turn into something nasty like a gremlin. Just wasn't going over so well. So then you get to the bar scene. Brad, I'll let you talk about this for a little while.
Oh, well, I mean, you've got all kinds of green, scaly creatures all over the place, doing all kinds of goofy, zany, cartoony things, including, and not limited to, playing pool, drinking under a bar tap, the scene where you've got the trench coat and nothing underneath, and they pull the trench coat open.
Yep, the flasher.
The flasher.
Yeah, the flasher.
I've got that Funko Pop figure. The flashing gremlin.
Which reminds me, I have a new Funko Pop coming this week.
Ooh.
But, the bar scene with his girlfriend, what's her name?
Kate.
Yes. I mean, she's sitting there, like, pouring beer for, like, as if they were real customers, just kind of rowdy.
Right. As fast as she can.
And there's chain smoking and playing cards. I mean, it's literally straight out of a, like, cartoon. All the goofy, zany things that you think that they might be doing, they are doing and more.
Yeah. It's like
my favorite one is the guy there, the gremlin sitting in the corner in the dark with the sunglasses on, and it's playing like the slow jazz music.
Yeah.
And then you have the other gremlin come up with a puppet and start teasing him. And then he pulls out a hammer and hits him in the head.
Yeah. Or when they were playing poker and Stripe ends up shooting the one gremlin because the one that was dressed up like a girl kind of like made it out that the one gremlin was cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the one that was dressed up like a 80s exercise video girl, wearing the leg warmers
and all.
Jesus. I mean, they did really good with coming up with very creative ways with the multiple gremlins that they put in here. Oh, so good. And then Kate realizes, oh, if I try to light your cigarette, you're not a big fan of the cigarette lighters from La Flame. So she grabs, again, we go back to a Polaroid camera, and she starts snapping pictures, and that's when Billy magically arrives, and she comes out, gets in the car, sits on Gizmo, and then the car magically won't start again, so they have to take off on foot. And Kate's not a big fan of Christmas either, so...
Yeah, she breaks off into that weird story about something happening on Christmas with her dad or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, her.
But they had kind of... We'll probably touch on that again in the second movie a little bit, where they poke fun at that scene later.
Yeah, her and Billy are like... Are they inside the bank at this time? Yeah, I think they end up getting to the bank.
I think so.
And, they've already had a discussion where Kaiten doesn't like Christmas, but she hadn't explained why. Now's when she's going into the whole story of, her dad, was supposed to be coming home from work, and it was Christmas Eve or something like that. And he never showed up. Mom could never find him at the office or anything like that. A couple days go by, and they notice the smell when they went to go light the fire, so they end up calling the police and the fire department, and they bust open the chimney top, and there's the dad who apparently was going to surprise them and playing Santa and had arms full of presents and had slipped and broke his neck or something and got stuck in the chimney.
Which apparently was a common thing for some number of years, of people actually doing that and actually getting stuck and getting hurt and sometimes not making it.
Yep. Yeah. It's like now you look at chimneys and you're like, why would people even consider going up and down it like that?
Right. I mean, more often than not, a human couldn't really fit in them.
Mm-hmm. But if you think about it, again, here at the end of this interaction is where she goes, and that's when I knew that there was no such thing as Santa Claus, or knew Santa Claus wasn't real. I'm like, again, geez, you got all these kids out in the theater, and you're dropping that. It's like, wow.
Well, they know.
Ugh. Yeah, jeez. That's just crazy. And I think one of the other lines that she had mentioned was, while some people are home opening presents, others are home opening their wrists, referring to people with depression and stuff. I'm like, man, that's a serious line right there.
Yeah, she's not wrong, but kids watch this.
I mean, it's like scenes like that where it really bleeds over the original horror aspect of the movie. Yeah, maybe tone some of that a little bit back.
Right. Oh, yeah. Anyway, Rand Peltzer's on his way back from the convention. Well, not back from the convention yet. He'd made that phone call to the wife, and you see him sitting there on this payphone in the center of this convention. There's a Robbie the robot or something that's like standing over his, like right behind him.
That's the robot from Forbidden Planet.
Okay.
One of the classic 50s. I mean, there's a lot of sci-fi references through there, but that's one of the big sci-fi nerd references.
Mm-hmm.
Not as big as the gag that happens right behind him, though.
Right, with the H.G. Wells time machine. That is there one moment, and next thing you know, it's gone, and the guy and the girl are trying to figure out what just happened. Where did it go?
which is a gag. I mean, that's something that the '80s was really good at. I mean, you look at movies like Airplane and some of those where it's like there's something, or even like Naked Gun, where there's something going on in the background, and the characters themselves are having like a serious conversation or something that's really important, but in the background there's this great gag going on that they never even notice. And that, for me, that's one of the best ones there is.
Yeah, that one was good. You know, they did reference a lot of movies and stuff like that with, you know, I think one scene, Stripe or one of the other Gremlins said something about phone home. So that's that's an E.T. reference. There's another reference to E.T. a little bit later with seeing the E.T. doll in the department store. The
Invasion of the Body Snatchers is on TV at one point.
Yep. They also show a little of It's a Wonderful Life, too, don't they?
Yeah, I believe so. I thought, was it Murray and his wife was watching that?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's when all of a sudden his antenna started going on the fritz. And he has another one of his, you know, foreign crap moments. I told you we should have bought a Zenith. God, I just love his character.
Oh, it doesn't matter what movie he's in. Like, even if he's in the movie for one scene, that scene is going to steal the movie.
Right. Yeah. The movies that are on the marquee at the beginning of the film, there at the movie theater, the names are, what is it, A Boy's Life and Watch the Skies. Those are supposedly to reference the working titles of what E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind were.
Mm-hmm. A great deep little reference there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just nice. Just all these little nods, I guess we'll say, to things that they've worked on and things that I guess they were somewhat inspired by.
And I know that there's references in both movies to the movie Inner Space, which Joe Dante had worked on prior to this also. So there's all kinds of like little, especially when you get to the second one, but there's all these little nods here and there that if you really want to look for them, there's a treasure trove.
So after the rescue, I guess you would say, at the bar, and Kate and Billy are over at the bank, which, you know, if you watch deleted scenes, you see that the bank president, bank owner, I forget what his name was, he was actually killed in the bank. And then Gerald, because you wonder, you know, what happened to Gerald? You know, what happened to Judge Reinhold's character? Because it seems like he just disappears. Well, apparently at this point he has kind of lost his mind and had hidden himself in the vault. So he's kind of like just totally lost his mind. He feels that that's the safest place for him, is to be in there. You don't see Pete anymore after he hits the one with the slingshot and cuts the Christmas lights. That's the last you see of Pete, so you don't know what happened to him. It's kind of odd.
Well, I know some people will call like, oh, this is basically the perfect movie, and then they'll put like an asterisk behind it if you ignore all these little questions that you have.
Right. Yeah, I mean, overall,
because there's moments like that where it's like if you turn the brain off completely, you won't notice any of them. But I will say, a lot of them, the movie moves so fast that it's hard to really pick up on some of those things. But if you don't turn the brain completely off and get lost in the movie, which is hard to do, there are a lot of moments like that where it's like, well, where'd this character go? Where'd this character go? Where's what Why aren't they? Why is snow? Why isn't the beer doing anything to them? Because there's a lot of water in beer.
Yep, and it's splashing all over their faces, and they're consuming it.
What, like 95% water?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, so after the party at the bar is ruined, they just all end up congregating at the movie theater to watch Snow White, of all things. And they're just singing along and having a great time.
How they gotten the license for that, I will never know. I mean, it was the 80s, and the 80s was dark for Disney, but
yeah,
I don't know if it was that dark.
Yeah, they must have been on some pretty hard times, especially with their animation studios and stuff, because obviously this is all before they acquired Pixar, as before.
I mean, this is before their second renaissance with Little Mermaid, Lion King, and so on and so on. I mean,
and all that.
This is when they're recycling animation, not drawing as well. I mean, it was definitely a darker time for Disney, so I guess it makes a little more sense that it was easier to get Snow White property to use in Gremlins.
Yeah. Yeah, so they realize that all the Gremlins are there, or, they presume they're all there, which it's hard to believe that they all would be, because you can only imagine just how many were really created after the pool scene. But they all find them there, and they end up figuring out a way that they're going to blow them all up in the theater. Which, just thinking of the idea, if we're going to blow up the movie theater, seems kind of odd. Meanwhile, all this is going on, and Stripe has run out of snacks. He wants something else to eat. So he hops on over across the street and ends up seeing the entire movie theater go up in flames with all his fellow Gremlins inside. And then we have the department store scene. So they just go in there and they separate, Kate, hey, go get the lights on, or, go try to figure stuff out. Billy and is going to go get Stripe, and they have some interesting little interactions here. Again, this is where Stripe's hiding in the, stuffed animals, and that's where you have that little E.T. figure reference. Then Stripe's throwing circular saw blades at him, and comes at him with a plug-in chainsaw. And Billy's defending himself with a wooden baseball bat. There's just some funny stuff. And then getting around to seeing Gizmo drive in that little Barbie Corvette was... it was very interesting, because you're like, wait, this thing don't have gas pedals and brake pedals and stuff like that. It's just a plastic car. But it fit for what they were trying to accomplish.
It's another one of those moments that's like, I'm trying to remember what movie it was, but there's a famous story about, I want to say it was Jaws. Yeah, it was Jaws. So there's a scene at the end where they have like the tank in the shark's mouth, and somebody's like, okay, you're supposed to shoot and blow it up, and they're like, well, but that wouldn't actually happen with this. And the response was, well, if you've done your job all the way through the movie, then whatever you put in, no matter how ridiculous it is, the audience will believe it. That's clearly in this scene with Gizmo driving the car, where it's like, we've been through all these shenanigans. It's like, it doesn't make any sense for him to be able to drive this car, but it's fine. Mm-hmm. But it's so bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Gizmo almost runs into Barney, and he stops, honks his little horn, and says, Woof woof.
Scares a dog half to death.
Right. Which I gotta say, I mean, the dog interacting and responding to things that was going on is, a very good job done.
Mm-hmm.
Also easier to do with real props rather than CGI.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. So Kate's up there, she's flipping on, the store audio and stuff like that, and she kicks on some of the lights, and that's what kind of surprises and scares off Stripe with the chainsaw, and then chainsaw just drags him back to and then he finds the gun, and there's a lot of guns in this film too, a lot of handguns.
Mm-hmm.
It's the American way.
It's the American way, yeah. So then all of a sudden he hears that Kate has turned on the fountain in the garden center, so that's where he's going to head off to. And at that point, Billy's thinking, Jesus, not again. More water. And here comes Gizmo to save the day. Comes flying in his little Barbie car and hits the snow shovel, which acts as a ramp, and he ends up grabbing the lines to the blinds or curtains and opens to get the sunlight in there, and that's what kills Stripe. Saves the day.
And, that's another one of those moments that kind of makes you look at it and say, but wait a second, because he's like hovering over the fountain ready to go in, but you can clearly see the water splashing on him.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like, are those drops not big enough?
Well, yeah, and it's like, at this point, it's like, we've been through this. Sure, why not? Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to see Dad and Barney have made it back from the conference, though, at this time, because Barney gets in there first, and then Dad gets in there. But of course, on the way back, Dad couldn't help but try to do another little sales pitch with his smokeless ashtray with the guy at the gas station. And I like how whenever he's getting in the car to leave the gas station, the guy's standing there holding it at the door, coughing as like crazy. Apparently it wasn't working so well. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah. Oh, so next thing you know, the scene cuts to back to the Peltzer house. Billy's got his arm wrapped in a sling, or his head's wrapped, and everybody's recuperating and celebrating Christmas, and doorbell rings, or there's a knock at the door, and Mr. Wing shows up and goes into berating them that you were not ready and stuff like this. And I guess it's kind of a thing about the Western world, just kind of takes what's nice and ruins things.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a message there or what, but you are not ready. But no, they have that cute little thing, oh, he would like to say one more thing to you. And he says, does that really cute bye, Billy. Like, that's cute.
Mm.
Yeah, that had the feels, man. And then the old man walks out, and or he getting ready to walk out, and of course, Dad wants to offer him or he sees that he's got a smokeless ashtray, or he's wanting to offer him a token, and he's like, oh, smokeless ashtray. Man at gas station tried to give me one. Says latest in new technology or something like that. It's like, that's just, oh God, it was so good.
There's so many moments like that where it's set up early and you get the joke payoff like 15 minutes later, 30 minutes later. Those are some of my favorite jokes in general in movies where you see something like that and you think, oh, that's right. And then you remember, like, oh, that was from, like, forever ago in this movie.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's good things. Because we were mentioning, though, that Gremlins and the other movie that came out in 1984 was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. These movies brought about the whole PG-13, and I think that was, partially a Steven Spielberg kind of thing. He's like, yeah, maybe we need to do something about this.
Yeah, because if you look at movies from like this period and before, like even through the 60s, there's movies that are rated PG that you look at and you think, really? Like PG? But then again, back then, PG was essentially what PG-13 is now.
Right.
And G was basically what PG is now.
Right. Yeah, big changes. Big changes with this. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of great movies from 1984. Like, you got Terminator, Karate Kid, Dune, Neverending Story, Nightmare on Elm Street, Amadeus, Police Academy, Natural, which we talked about in our baseball episode, Splash, Bachelor Party, Purple Rain.
The fourth Friday the 13th movie, which had Corey Feldman, which I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Conan the Destroyer again, I mean, that's where He-Man came from. And then you had all the great cartoons, Transformers, that was big in 84. G.I. Joe was kind of more of 85, but Voltron was 82, 83 to 85, something like that. There's a lot of great things going on at this time.
Yeah, that's one of those years that you look at and you forget how many things that are still looked at very fondly.
And
oh my God, Police Academy. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Well, I was going to say, they have Dune on the list. I mean, they're getting ready to release a newer version of that. I think in
I am
episodic.
so excited.
I'm cautiously optimistic myself.
Yeah.
I was super nervous because I've been a Dune fan since high school, and I'm always let down by every single Dune thing that comes out. Like this one, I mean, it's basically David Lynch who takes the story and is like, we're going to make a Dune adaptation, and then somewhere in the middle decides, I'm just going to make a weird David Lynch movie. But then you've got the sci-fi miniseries that came out in 2000, which is probably the best adaptation, ? But it's still very dated and hokey. And then you had its sequel, which is kind of meh. So you've got the right people there, but I'm still nervous, but I'm still kind of excited.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be let down again.
Remember the last time? We told you not to feed them after midnight. We told you to keep them away from the light. And the most important warning of all, we told you to never, ever get them wet. You didn't listen.
They're mutating.
Sir, is the building on fire?
No, that's a false alarm.
Are you trying to panic New York City?
Absolutely not.
So the monsters are real?
I didn't say that.
Gremlins 2. The new batch.
Now, was that civilized? No, clearly not. Fun, but in no sense civilized.
All right, so moving into Gremlins 2, The New Batch. This was released in June 15th of 1990, made approximately $9.7 million on that opening weekend, and only about $41.5 million worldwide on an approximate $50 million budget.
Ooh.
Yeah, so did not have the same movie theater magic as Gremlins 1. Rotten Tomatoes, 69% critic and 59% audience. So both of those totals are down quite a bit on both. But as you look back on this film, it seems like this one is kind of aged. I think a lot of people feel that it was underrated back then.
I would definitely agree with that, because in the same way that, Starship Troopers is sort of like this piece on a thing, this is like a piece on a B-movie schlock fest. Like, it's kind of genius.
And it's ripe with satire all the way through.
Riddled.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with this movie. Again, it's directed by Joe Dante, written by Charles S. Haas. I don't really know who it was produced by. Not a whole lot of production.
I know Marshall, Kennedy, and Spielberg, and somebody else. It might be the same four.
Oh, okay.
But what's interesting about this one is you can tell right away that there's something different about this one, because of the first Gremlins. It's, all across screens. Steven Spielberg presents, his name's... You don't see his name during the credits. It's almost like they didn't want to be associated with it.
Right. I mean, he did have a cameo in the first one, back at the convention scene. He's riding by on that little sit-down bike or whatever that was.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I will say immediately, right off the bat, the... second one, there's a difference in that music. That music just sticks with you for some reason.
From the first one?
I'm still humming it in the second movie.
No.
That second theme, it just is stuck in my brain and has been since we watched it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my favorite things about the first one is the theme song. It's just so good. Just the opening and closing music is just wonderful.
Yeah.
So now we have,
and you can also tell it's a different theme going forward, also, because your first shot is it's the Warner Brothers logo, but it's cartoon,
right?
Which should be your first hint, like that you can't really take this very seriously.
No. yeah. They got Chuck Jones to come out of retirement to do the animation sequences on this.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
And he actually had a cameo in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, that's actually pretty cool. I'll admit, since we went to Southern California in October, I have a new appreciation for WB.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
ever since doing the backlot tour, really understanding like the scope of what they have done and the movies they have done. It's like, oh wow, a lot of my favorite movies are from WB actually.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, Chuck Jones was 89 when he passed away in 2002. Legendary animator.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I mean, I know as a kid, I mean, right now, these current times don't really... I mean, it'd make more sense for this, but June Bugs would always come on Cartoon Network, and all around June, they would play Bugs Bunny. And that was a good memory growing up as a kid. I don't know if they still do that.
I don't know. No, I was just always a big fan of Bugs Bunny and stuff like that. So getting a chance to see, Bugs and Daffy kind of at the beginning or end of this one was kind of funny. So you got Zach Galligan reprising his role as Billy Peltzer. Phoebe Cates comes back as Kate.
Thank God. Can I just go ahead and say thank God they kept the two?
Yeah.
At the very least, they kept those two.
Yep. Dick Miller comes back as Murray Futterman, as did his wife, the actress that played his wife in the first one. She's back in the second one.
Which they also gave them a lot more to do in this one.
Yeah, kind of. Howie Mandel voiced Gizmo again. And then we've got John Glover playing Daniel Clamp. And Haviland Morris playing Marla. Very well-known character actor Robert Prosky plays Grandpa Fred. It's kind of based on Al Lewis from The Munsters.
Yeah, very much so.
Every time I think of Robert Prosky, of course, me being the horror fan, I always think of his role in Christine.
Oh, yeah.
As the shop owner.
Oh. Wow. There's just so many crossovers. Love it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I better strap up and buckle in for this one. There's going to be a lot of those.
Yeah.
You've got Robert Picardo playing Forster.
Probably most known for being the doctor in Star Trek Voyager.
Yep. You got Sir Christopher Lee as Dr. Catheter.
What a great name.
I know. It's like, really? Then you've got the Stanton twins, Don and Dan, playing the roles of Martin and Lewis. So kind of a nod to Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis.
Mm-hmm. Also, at first, if you didn't know any better, you're like, wait a second. Is that one of those classic things they do, a little movie magic? It's the guy playing as himself? Nope, they're definitely separate people,
right.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is
not... And it's a great little... It's a joke about the whole gene splicing thing where he mentions about, oh, how's the cloning working? And then his twin turns around, he's like, oh, it's coming along very well. I mean, it's a great sight gag.
Yeah. Definitely not a Patty Duke situation where you have the one person playing two roles. This is actually twin brothers.
And, they're also probably... Maybe one of their best-known roles was in Terminator 2.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
And you've got a lot of small guest starring roles. Film critic Leonard Maltin plays himself. You've got Hulk Hogan.
Do you know the story about Leonard Maltin in this movie?
I did read something, but go ahead and share it with the rest of us.
So Leonard Maltin did not like the first Gremlins and gave it a negative review. So, and then it turned out to be this huge hit. So they got him in, kind of going on with the whole "don't take yourself seriously" theme of the movie. They brought him in to be himself, and they kind of broke the fourth wall because the movie he's reviewing in the scene is a VHS copy of Gremlins, and he's talking about how much he doesn't like it, and it's not for him, and then the Gremlins attack him, and he's, oh, no, I take it back, it's a great movie, it's wonderful. So, I mean, it's nice that he has a sense of humor about the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you had mentioned Hulk Hogan after that, playing as himself during that fourth wall kind of breaking experience. I could almost say you could sub Arnold Schwarzenegger in that same spot, but I don't think they could afford him at that point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Hulk Hogan was, he was huge at this time. This is when he's kind of playing around being an actor himself.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's funny that he's only in the theatrical version, which I didn't know for a long time, that the VHS had a completely different scene.
Oh, interesting.
Right. Yeah, the VHS version has a clip that you can find if you've never seen it on YouTube, where they've got a voice impersonator of John Wayne, and they're showing John Wayne film footage where he's in a gunfight with a couple of the Gremlins and stuff. It's funny.
Because originally, they had the theatrical cut, which had obviously Hogan in it, but whenever it came out on video, they're like, well, nobody's going to get this because they're not in theaters. It's going to be in homes, so they had to create a new scene, essentially, for the VHS copy. But then if you watch it on... The copy I have is on Blu-ray. I'm assuming the DVD is like this also, where it shows the theatrical cut. So you see that, and and really that whole the idea of that harkens back to a gag that William Castle did in the late 50s in The Tingler, which I've seen a few times, and where he liked to play with the audience and do. Most of his gags were obviously theater driven because there was no home market at the time, but he would have these gags where he would have like skeletons fly out across the audience and have things hooked up to people's chairs where things would happen. But one of his famous gags was having the film pretend to break, but it was actually part of the movie. So kind of going back to the referencing old horror movies and monster movies like the first one did, it's a nice little touch back to that.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty well done. I mean, you see these things and you just... Because it's funny how during that sequence, it cuts to that one guy and he goes in there and taps Hulk Hogan on the shoulder, and Hulk yells up at the Gremlins up in the projector room, and then he has his little fourth wall moment. Sorry about that, folks.
I mean, I can only imagine seeing that in theaters, and like for the first time, and seeing that happen, like play out in real time. That's interesting.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
And with the VHS tape, apparently a number of people actually thought that their VHS tape broke, so they were taking it back and being like, well, this is defective because it clearly broke in the middle of it. Like, apparently that actually happened a lot. I mean, I remember one time we rented a movie, I don't even remember what it was, from Blockbuster, and it did get eaten and broken in the VHS tape, and we had to take it back and be like, look, it broke. What is this?
Right.
But the gift that never keeps giving, Gremlins 2.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's not too far of a stretch. I mean, you think of the, the Orson Welles broadcast where they're like, oh, it's the end of the world.
Oh, War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got Key Luke reprising his role as Mr. Wing. He's not in the film very long.
No.
No. You got John Astin, best known as Gomez Adams, as the janitor that fixes the water fountain. And I believe there's even a line where either Gizmo or one of the Gremlins says Gomez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can't remember which one.
Yeah. And we got Henry Gibson as the employee that got fired for taking a break.
Yeah, so every time I see him, he's always like that. Like, I know that guy from something. And the two things I always think of, he's the Nazi guy from Blues Brothers, but he's also the priest or the reverend in Wedding Crashers. One of my favorite scenes of that movie where he's confiding in him and he's just freaked out about everything he's hearing. Right. But every time but he doesn't have a line in this movie. That's his face does it all.
Sometimes you don't need a line.
Yeah, right.
Another person that is not actually on our list, but that I'd thought of was Dean Norris. So he played the brother-in-law on Breaking Bad. So here's another Breaking Bad reference or connection.
Wow.
He plays a SWAT team leader and kind of loses his mind or loses his shit for a few seconds. Julia Sweeney is Peggy, the Splice of Life receptionist.
Probably most known for SNL as being Pat.
Yep. It's Pat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I'm trying to think of the name of the actress that played the cooking show lady.
Oh,
God, because she did
Kathleen Freeman.
Yeah, because she did a lot of things. Microwave Marge.
Oh my God, that has to be like one of the freaking best scenes.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, she has done so much. She was in Blues Brothers as well, and Blues Brothers 2000.
Oh, the less we say about 2000, the better.
Yeah, she passed away in 2001 at age 82.
Hmm.
So she had a nice long run.
I just love how she's basically using her cooking show as an excuse to get drunk on sherry.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, I don't know if our listeners watch much cooking shows. I do a lot lately. And one thing you will not see on any of those shows is a freaking microwave, let alone like 6 of them. And the fact that the name of the show is Microwave Marge, or what is it?
Microwaving
Marge.
with Marge. Yeah.
It just...
Well, and the food she makes
kills
is
me.
garbage, too.
Oh my god, it sounds real gross.
Like, wasn't it like bologna rolled bean dip or something like that?
And tuna noodle... Oh, something or another. But it was like, whoa, wait, what? Like, you had me at tuna noodle, then you said that third word.
Oh, and you got Dick Butkus as himself getting attacked at the salad bar. And then you've got Bubba Smith playing himself, saving Dick Butkus. And both those guys, I believe, played for the Chicago Bears. And I know they're pro football players, but Bubba Smith is also well known for playing Hightower on Police Academy.
Mm-hmm. Which I saw him in there, and I thought, boy, he looks really familiar for some. But it's such a quick scene that it's hard to really focus on it. But yeah, Hightower, another Police Academy reference.
Mm-hmm. And then we wrap up our notable names with the wonderful Tony Randall voicing Brain Gremlin.
Now, remind me, his voice sounds extremely familiar. Should I know him from anything?
Well,
I know him best as being in
Odd Couple.
The Odd Couple, the original.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, playing the straight man to Jack Klugman's, was it Oscar?
Yeah, because there's Felix and Oscar.
Yep.
He's one of those dudes. He's been around a long time, did a lot of acting. One of those classical actors, but I cannot think of a single other thing. It's just really sad.
Yeah, so he played Felix, and Jack Klugman was Oscar. Let's see, what else would he... I'm trying to think what else it was that he was so big on. I mean, yeah, he had the Tony Randall show. He was on Carol Burnett for a little while. But, yeah, his biggest thing was The Odd Couple. But, I mean, he was just very well known, even though he was not really in huge things, it seems like. But I'm sure I'm getting yelled at right now.
Well, he
did a
definitely
lot
has
of TV stuff.
Yeah.
He definitely has that voice that makes you think, "Oh man, I think I know him from something."
Oh yeah, yeah. It was
whether you do or don't.
Yeah. Love Sydney. That was a 3-year run. Yeah, those are the big things that I can think of. But yeah, The Odd Couple. I mean, that's still a great show today.
Oh, it probably. That's. I was trying to think. Pillow Talk. Pillow Talk and Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter. Those two probably are the ones I know the most.
Right. Yeah, I know.
It's been a while since I've watched them.
Yeah, no. One of the other thing too. I mean, he fathered a child at a very, very late age, which that was another one of the things that he was in the news for. I want to say he was in his 70s when his last child was born.
Whoa.
Needless to say, his wife at the time was not in her 70s.
I kind of had, thought that.
Yep, very good, well-known, special voice and stuff like that. All right, so let's get into the premise of this. A little bit different. Billy and Kate have obviously grown up some. I mean, we're 6 years later. Yeah, so 6 years down the road. This is 1990. They're living in New York, kind of working together, at least in this building.
Same company.
Yeah, same company.
Different departments.
Right. Kate is kind of a tourism person. She's the one that gives tours. And Billy is kind of like working on some design. What is Billy's real role in this one?
Well, he's not quite an architect, but I feel like he's more a conceptual, design, where he takes the thing and gets the idea out there to get the investors excited about whatever it is the project they're working on. That's what I had gathered.
Okay. Yeah, and then you got Daniel Clamp's characters planned as a combination of Donald Trump and Ted Turner.
Yeah, there's a lot of references to both people in there. With Trump, there's apparently the majority of this character was based off of Trump at the time, even so far as there's the book of Daniel Clamp's that they're trying to sell. I only know this because I worked in a bookstore. The look of the cover and the font usage and the design of it looks exactly like The Art of the Deal, which was the Trump book for the last 30 years. But then the Ted Turner stuff is the whole color, because they mentioned about colorizing old movies, which is something that Ted Turner was infamous for, and being clearly they have their own TV station in there, which is another Ted Turner reference. So you put the two of them together, and there's your Clamp.
Yeah, because I think this building was supposed to be designed kind of like a futuristic smart building or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they even reference it being the first smart building, and I think that might be one of the first references of something being a smart something.
Yeah. I know Dante did not want to do a sequel. Apparently he didn't really want any part of this, but threw enough money at him, I guess. The studio talked him into it. But his idea was definitely not to take the story seriously at all.
Oh, yeah, and they tried to get other people to do the sequel, and it just, for whatever reasons, they never worked out, and finally they were having to kind of go back to him and be like, all right, we'll throw more money, just do the thing, and he was just like, I'm going to do whatever I want, and I don't care, and I'm going to make this as fun as possible, and I mean, everything about the first movie is kind of like, well, we're kind of taking it seriously within the rules and the world that we're creating, and in this one, we're not going to take anything seriously. In fact, we're going to make fun of ourselves.
Which is actually kind of funny if, I think you had shared the Key and Peele clip on YouTube. Oh my God, that was great.
Yeah, I mean, everything from it's one of those movies that if you watch at surface level, yeah, it's cartoony and silly, and if you love the first movie and you want your movie to be taken seriously, you're probably going to hate this one. Mm-hmm. But if you look at it like on a deeper level, it's full of satire against commercialism. I mean, there's references to the whole having the no Gizmo T-shirts on the Gremlins, and there's a reference to at the end to Gizmo with suction cups on windows, and I mean, there's a whole lot of references that it's not going to take itself seriously, but it's also going to kind of take jabs at even Warner Brothers. I mean, they have the one Gremlin that gets a Warner Brothers tattoo on its chest, and and probably the biggest scene that everyone points to, which is one of my favorites, is where Billy's trying to warn everyone, like, there's Gremlins in the building, we got to shut it down, and they're not taking it seriously, and they start like questioning all the rules, and it's basically every comment and criticism of the first movie, but they're actually acknowledging them in the second movie. Things like, if they cross over a time zone, is it still midnight? Because it's always midnight somewhere. Or
and if he eats something and he gets it stuck in his teeth, but then it falls out later, and he kind of eats it, but he's not really eating it, is that considered eating after midnight?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many moments like that where it's I mean, it's hard not to laugh because it's like there's all these glitches really in the rules in the first movie that pays attention to. In the second movie, they're like, well, we're going to throw it right out there at you because, yeah, it's silly.
And I think it kind of makes for a better movie.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's great on the level that it's not going to take itself seriously, and sometimes that's what you need.
Yep.
Yes, definitely.
It's a good popcorn flick. Just go in there, just turn your brain off, sit back, and enjoy the ride.
Well, and another thing that Dante said was, I told the story, where can you really go with it? So, where do you go with it? You make fun of yourself.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the movie starts off with Mr. Ying's place looking to be purchased. He's like the last holdout. It's kind of like reminds me of Up in a way.
Oh, yeah.
That, the old man's the last holdout in this area of getting his real estate area purchased so they could just be knocked down and turned into something else. So they're like, we'll just hold out. Didn't you hear the guy coughing? We won't have to wait long. And so he passes away, and they end up finding Gizmo and as they're tearing the building down or whatever it is. So they bring him to the lab, to Dr. Catheter's lab, and start doing some experiments. And, well, lo and behold, then Billy ends up finding him.
Although it kind of takes a little while for Billy to find him.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that whole splice of life whole sequence, I love that whole concept, because why would you have a thing like that in a building? But whatever. There's a deleted scene where they originally the Gremlins were supposed to let monkeys loose, and they were supposed to run out and go crazy. But there's a great outtake where they're having the gremlin right in front of the cage trying to open it up, and then monkeys are supposed to fly out. But the monkeys are terrified of the gremlin puppets,
right? And
they will not go near the edge of the cage. And the attempts of them trying to get them out are hysterical, because then finally you have the gremlin like kind of motioning like, come on, it's fine, like, come on, let's go. And the monkey's like, no.
Movie magic.
Yep. That's what happens when you're dealing with real life creatures. That's funny stuff. I mean, you see some of the weirdest little things in there in this lab. The twins get Gizmo dancing to a Fats Domino song. And just as Gizmo feels it's time to make a break for it, Dr. Catheter catches him just as he was getting ready to run off the table. Oh, yeah, it was good.
And I love that you have the guy who's basically playing a late night horror, like a B movie horror host kind of thing, like a kind of like an Elvira thing, or like a Svengoolie kind of thing. And he's basically dressed up as Dracula doing a thing, starring in a movie with a guy who was very well known for being Dracula. That being Dr. Catheter.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting. I mean, Christopher Lee had a hell of a career.
Oh, yeah. He did recordings of metal music late in life. If you haven't listened to him doing like death metal, then you haven't really lived.
Wow.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably saw him as Count Dooku.
Or
Lord of the Rings.
Yep. two very well-known later in life roles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so again, Gizmo gets wet, and next thing you know, we've got a whole bunch of new little gremlins running around. This time they decided to give them all names, not just...
And different personalities all together.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got the, what is it, George, Lenny, Mohawk, and Daffy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And George and Lenny are references to, I believe, of Mice and Men.
Mm.
Whereas Daffy is a Daffy Duck homage because he's the goofy one.
Right. His eye is always spinning around and he's kind of giggling and just making... Yeah, and they always like blow that little whistle or whatever with him.
But I love how Kate goes up to, because Billy's hiding Gizmo in his drawer,
right?
And in the meantime, Daffy's in there, and then she finds Daffy instead, and it looks kind of like him, and she's like, "Wow, you've changed a little bit." I mean,
right?
It's hard not to laugh because he's so not like Gizmo at all.
Right. Such a big difference. I guess it's Gizmo hopped up on sugar.
Or like 3 Red Bulls.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah, so definitely
also,
got the wrong...
Can we comment on how Gizmo always gets his ass whooped by the Gremlins / the other Mogwai? He's just always getting his ass whooped.
Yeah, everything that reproduces off him beats his ass.
And I know that was one of those things where they said, okay, let's try to think of every horrible thing that they can do to this little poor creature, and let's do it. And they proceed to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, they lock Gizmo in the vents. Then, of course, they have to eat at the building's food court after midnight, turn into gremlins. Oh, man. Yeah. Meanwhile, Billy's, I don't know if you would call her boss, but Marla.
I would say so.
His superior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She kind of has a thing for Billy. And they go to eat at that like Canadian style restaurant.
It's like no one goes and eats at a high fancy Canadian restaurant. It's just, it doesn't happen.
No.
And that's another great moment in the movie where you look at it and you say, in a normal movie, they would just be 2 people going to a high-end restaurant.
Probably Japanese or steak or whatever.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But to go all the way to say, no, we're going to have a Canadian restaurant with the waiters dressed up as Mounties, and they're going to have life-size stuffed animals right at the edge of your table, and they're going to have a giant chocolate mousse for dessert. I mean, it's so cartoony. I love it.
Yeah. Who was it that played the waiter? I know I've seen him in a lot of different things.
Honestly, at that point, I'm laughing so hard at the scene, I have a hard time paying attention to the waiter.
Yeah, I can't remember who that is, and I'm trying to look through, see if I can figure it out, but I don't see a name associated with like a waiter.
The other thing that always gets me about that scene, and I know Brad and I were talking about it last weekend, was so you have Marla who's drinking the wine, you have Billy who's drinking the Molson, which of course Canadian beer, but there's very clearly a Jolt Cola can that's open on the table, and who's drinking that?
Right.
Unless that's just the weirdest product placement ever. I don't know.
Yeah, makes you wonder. No, there was a lot more product placement, I think, in this film.
Yes.
Burger King was in the first one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, which is funny because, Burger King's in the first one, yet Hardee's is the chain that puts out these movie tie-in storybook records.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember in our Jurassic Park episode, we were talking about how like they kind of flip-flop between McDonald's and was it Burger King, I think?
Yeah, with the watches.
Yeah, because they kind of flipped from one movie to the next.
Well, you notice Burger King usually gets the one that's not so great.
Oh, really? You don't say.
With the
Well, Burger
exception of the first Pokemon movie, they scored big on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not forget Burger King had the digital code or scratch off thing for Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Ooh.
Because I remember getting those. Yeah, I remember getting those things and running home real quick so I can log on online, and it was like basically doing a digital scratch off, where instead of scratching off, you were digging up like a certain area to excavate a deal, and of course you never won jack crap on it.
Huh, kind of like how I always go to Taco Bell trying to win another Xbox as if I need it.
Right.
Yeah, same here.
I think one of the things that's funny about Grandpa Fred is the fact that he just wants to be a real news reporter. He's kind of tired of his gig.
Well, that's how he wanted to start off. And he's like, oh, things never went my way. And then he sees this opportunity as things go awry in his building to kind of report the true news, since they're not letting anyone in the building because they don't want anyone knowing. I mean, kind of like North Korea in there.
Right.
Because any bad news will reflect negatively on your image.
Yep. Yeah, and Grandpa Fred's director actually ended up being Joe Dante.
Mm-hmm.
So he's directing him twice. Yeah, I mean, there's just some pretty funny scenes. Some of them that are cut, and some of them that obviously made it into the film. But it's just, this is, like we were saying before at the beginning, this is just like a complete, almost parody of itself.
And that's probably the best way to describe it, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's almost like, because it makes these jokes about, like, anti-commercialism and things like that, but at the same time, they're creating all these ridiculous different types of gremlins that one could look at it and say, oh, well, the only reason you're creating them is so you can market them later, because you've got the vegetable-looking gremlin that comes out of the soup, you've got the bat gremlin, you've got the brain gremlin, you've got the electrical one that basically lives in electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Spider.
The spider one.
Yeah, Mohawk turns
You have
into
the
spider. The female.
You have the female one.
Yeah,
oh, man.
It has the thing with Forster. Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, seeing Clamp kind of be the man that wants to save the day, even though he's really not the one doing it, but he's wanting to kind of take all the credit. And yeah, I can see why you're saying the comparison to Trump and Ted Turner.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was, I mean, you watch any interviews with any of them, that was a very conscious decision to have those two as his. In fact, so much so that Marla, Billy's boss, is actually modeled after Trump's second wife. Hence the reason they gave her the name Marla.
Right, Marla Maples.
Mm-hmm.
Even though this Marla is redhead.
Right.
And talks like Fran Drescher in a way. She's definitely got that Jersey, New York accent.
And it was also, I mean, that's the other thing that's very, I mean, this came out in '90, so this is kind of after the big boom of late '80s, like your greed is good kind of thing. But I mean, she's like the epitome of that, where she's going to climb the corporate ladder and do whatever it takes to get up there, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she doesn't like Billy Peltzer at all. But the moment that Clamp is congratulating him, she's like, "Oh, I can use this as a stair step."
Yep. Yeah. So suddenly she wants to get on with him, just latch on. And Kate's not too fond of Marlo once she kind of figures out that there's a potential thing going on there.
Mm-hmm. And could we mention that it's how weird it is that the Futtermans actually show up again, since it's kind of implied they die in the first one?
Yeah, you'd think that the Futtermans are getting plowed, literally, by the Gremlins that busted in and got his Kentucky Harvester.
And it's also weird that they're visiting them because they're not related. So
right, they're just neighbors. Like,
right. I always thought that was weird.
It's like, why didn't you want to reference the parents' visit? Like, I think, no, Hoyt Axton was still alive at this time. And I think there was actually supposed to be a scene with him that they were going to try to do, but they ended up not doing it. I forgot what the scene was of something I was reading the other day. I had neither one of them. It's just weird that you would have the neighbors showing up to visit.
Yeah, and I guess if you were like super close neighbors, okay, but it just didn't strike me that they were that close.
Right.
Well, at least not in the first movie, right?
Right.
Maybe there's a little off-screen magic.
Oh, yeah, a little chemistry we didn't see.
Yep, who knows?
Didn't you read the script?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, to be honest, I would very much like to read the different drafts of the script.
Right.
I'm curious how this evolved.
Yeah,
and you know, the other thing that it pops up in the first movie a little bit, but in this movie it really pops up is some of my favorite interactions of Gremlins is whenever they're trying to, I guess out of their own desire, to put themselves in a human job situation. Like in this one, you have one being like a receptionist, and you have the brain gremlin being a stock trader, and
buy, sell.
Right. I mean, you have like all these weird things where they're actually doing like some menial job that a human would do, and they seem thrilled with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're completely fine just being low man on the totem poles.
Right. You know, honestly, now that I think about it, it kind of reminds me, if you watch any new Who, there's at the end of, I guess it's season 3, where the Master comes back and clones himself using all the people on Earth. And basically the Master he's doing every job that a human would do. So he's basically the boss, but then he's also like the menial guy who's taking orders. And I always thought that was the strangest thing, but then rewatching Gremlins 2, I'm thinking, oh, well, he's no different than a lot of these Gremlins who are just perfectly fine answering the phone, being a receptionist.
Yeah, it's just a totally different tone here.
And there's a lot of, I mean, this movie it's one of those movies that if you watch it 100 times, and I put Back to the Future in this category too, there's so many things put into every scene of this movie that you watch it 100 times, you're going to notice something new just about every time.
Right.
I mean, like the last time I watched it, I found this little tidbit out. So if you're into movies and like special effects and like the people who are like the special effects wizards type people, like your Dennis Murins and Tom Savini's and people like that, Rick Baker is one of the names that's right at the top of that list, and he did the effects on here. The first movie he worked on was Octoman, which I think it was last year or the year before. I went to the theater and they did a live Riff Tracks version of Octoman, which is hilarious, I might add. But that was the first movie that Rick Baker did effects on, and that's the movie that Grandpa Fred's show is showing that night. I mean, talk about a deep cut of a little trivia fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do like how they had all those little throwbacks.
Or you have the very obvious reference that you have the Bat Gremlin that flies out through the wall and it leaves the Batman emblem, which just came out the prior year, and apparently, imagine that, was doing very well.
Right. Yeah, it just makes me think back to that Key and Peele clip. You're going to have a bat gremlin that's going to fly out and leave a symbol of a Batman, and it's going to get into the concrete, and then it's going to fly up onto a building and look like a gargoyle. Got it. That's it.
Well, and you know, and this is something that it took me, I don't know how many times watching this movie to finally notice, but whenever the Bat Gremlin flies out and is flying around the Futtermans, and he's, you know, trying to throw his arms around it to get it away, if you watch the people walking by him, they're just like staring at him like, look at this crazy person, and keep on going like it's no big deal. And part of that is I don't know if it's they just told him like, hey Dick, just walk down the street and wave your arms around and we'll put in this animated bat creature around you, but didn't tell anyone walking by, because it's a perfect New York response type thing where you have this crazy thing going and people are just like, yeah, no big deal, whatever. He's a crazy person, so what?
It's like, were these people not extras that knew what the hell was going on?
Right, yeah. Which is always the joke about movies in New York, where you have the crazy thing and people are just like, yeah, whatever, welcome to New York. But
right. Yeah, I guess
it could be any number of those things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, recently I was watching Friday the 13th Part 8, which only a little of it takes place in Manhattan, but there's the one scene where they rush in and they're like, we're being chased by this guy. He's trying to attack us. And the lady's like, yeah, welcome to New York. And then Jason busts in. I mean, it's a stereotype that's been in for decades with New York movies, but it never gets old.
Right. Yeah, just and as this goes along and stuff, you know, obviously all these main gremlins, you know, like Brain Gremlin and Bat Gremlin and Spider Gremlin, those are all kind of created in the lab and stuff with the different things that they've been experimenting on and stuff. But just hearing Brain Gremlin lead everybody into a chorus of New York, New York. I mean, that's just, to me, it's just a great moment. Oh,
and they have that reveal with the female gremlin, with they're having all the I don't even know what you call them. It's like they have like the things that they're standing under, and then it opens up and she comes out, and
oh, it's like the musical number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Choreography and all that.
They're like, oh, and they're even doing a musical number.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. Like
that, even as a kid, that particular scene made me uncomfortable.
What do you mean by uncomfortable?
Yeah, it's a strange thing.
Was it any more uncomfortable than whenever she comes out with the wedding dress and
no,
Forster's like, oh no.
Yeah,
that's like, maybe okay. Yeah, it was a little bit different there. So you guys have any other favorite scenes from this one?
Oh, by far the scene where Clamp puts in the tape for the end of the world. That always cracks me up.
Well, and again, as a kid, you don't understand the gravity of the situation. You don't really understand where that comes from. Nowadays, yeah, I kind of get it. A little more than I wanted to.
Yeah. And I know that there were, I don't know if this is true or not, but I know there was a rumor for a long time where it's TV stations have like a tape like that sitting somewhere on their shelf. So just in case the world was going to end, they could play like this thing. Somehow I doubt that was real, but I remember hearing that when I was a little kid. Like all these TV stations have this tape just in case. And so actually seeing something like that, it's like, oh, so that's what it would be like. Okay.
Well, it's kind of like the my uncle works at Nintendo gag that everybody always knows there's some uncle that works at Nintendo that knew that one thing.
Yep.
So do you think it's possible? Because I mean, if you've seen the Transformers cartoons, you know of the character Kremzeek, which was a bit of electricity that could just transfer from electronic device to electronic device, go over power lines and all that stuff. But in here, so now we've got electric gremlin that gets captured in the answering machine or something.
In the which I didn't realize this as a kid, but I realize more now. It's the phone lines, but it's like a visual. It's like video, of phone video back in the early '90s, and it's like, whoa, how forward thinking.
Right.
What they didn't know is it's going to also be in your pocket.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Well, and along those lines, like, because we mentioned in the first one, the dad's always coming up with inventions that just never work. In this movie, that gag is carried over because in this building, like, it's a smart building with all these high-tech, but nothing works in the building either. Like, there's a great gag early on with the door where there's a guy trying to go through, like, the sliding door thing, and it just starts spinning around wildly.
Yep.
But it's like the only thing that seems to work is this phone line that keeps the electric gremlin stuck in it.
Or when Billy's sitting there drawing and the lights go out, and he's like, "Hey, honey, my lights went out again. What do I do?" She's like, "Well, it's conserving energy. It's green. You got to stand up and wave your arms and jump around a little bit so it knows you're there still."
Which, I laugh so hard at that now because I went to a small brewery down in Cape Girardeau, and in their bathrooms they have lights that are like that. So if you're not in there, they turn off. So whenever I opened the door and I walked in, and I'm like, there's no light switch in here. I don't know how, like, it's dark. But the moment you walk in, the lights turn on, and it's like, oh, okay, well, sure. But then the moment you walk out and the door shut, you could see the lights turn off. And I thought, wow, this is, like, at the time, like, this is a joke. But, like, those things exist now.
Yeah. But at work, Kevin will maybe know what I'm talking about. There is a particular bathroom that sometimes it'll forget that there are people in that bathroom trying to use said bathroom.
Yep.
Makes for an interesting few moments.
Right. Yeah, I've been in other public bathrooms that have had that situation. It's like, really?
Man, I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have a flashlight on the back of my phone now.
I know.
And speaking of things that are in the movie that are kind of, they're clearly joking about that aren't real, but actually are real now, all the different TV stations that they visit throughout. So you have the one that's like the safety channel, and you see this dude walking out with like bandages and crutches and all this. And my favorite is the archery channel where you have a dude storming out looking like Robin Hood. But it's like now you have entire channels just devoted to one mundane thing like that. I mean, back in 1990, you didn't have like something that would be like an archery channel. Now, it's very likely to have an archery channel just devoted to one particular type of bow.
Yeah.
And not to mention all the voice command things that are sprinkled throughout the movie.
Yes. I was kind of amused that they didn't have like name badges or anything like that. So the way that you could tell who, all he did was he had to run. He had like this. I don't even. It almost looked like a large, oversized like pad from like Star Trek, but he had like this little pen attachment. And he'd run it along your little badge thing, and then it would tell him who it was. And yeah, that's great and all, but wouldn't it be more efficient to just have a name badge?
Right. Yeah, there's a pretty good deleted scene too where they're using one of those pad setups with the wand, and Forster's going on with Billy about his name badge being crooked or something like that, and then he scans it, and he has Billy talking to the wand and say whatever again. He plays the recording back, and it prints out a piece of paper that shows, oh, it's your tone was kind of nervous. You feeling okay there, Peltzer? So it's just funny the stuff that they were coming up with for this.
Oh yeah, and Star Trek is usually one of those things that people look at and be like, oh, look at all the things that they mentioned in there that they just used either as plot devices or just like to show off the future, and we're already creating some of these things and taking them for granted. I look at Gremlins too as it's like there's probably just as much, if not more, of those things in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a kid, I always thought of it as a very like futuristic, forward-leaning movie.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, or a lot of ways now, it maybe was. Whether it was intentional or not, who knows? But yeah, I always thought that was one of the cool things about it, is looking back to what they were creating as what they thought was going to be kind of futuristic.
Yeah, they did pretty good with all that. Oh, man. Just the whole idea of Futterman spraying all the gremlins down with water and then Billy releasing the electric gremlin out of the answering machine or whatever, and it electrocutes them all.
Good thing that worked, huh?
Yeah. But we do know at the end of the movie there's one gremlin and one mogwai left. So
yeah, that's true.
So apparently Forster and Lady Gremlin got married. We'll have to see where they go with with a 3 if they have it. It's been in talk for years.
That's the theory. Because the last I heard, I mean, if you look up, it's still on IMDb that it's still allegedly going to happen. But because the last I heard was that they were just going to do a sequel that ignores Gremlins 2 and just do a direct sequel from Gremlins 1.
Right.
But which I think we're going to see a lot more of those popping up, because I know Halloween did that and was very well received.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that was actually really good.
We're going to see a lot more of those where it's like, yeah, all those sequels that some people love, some people hate, but muddled everything. Well, let's just pretend they didn't happen.
Right.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, some of people's favorite video games, Zelda, has a bunch of different timelines. So if it works for them, yeah.
Oh boy, yeah, that's a whole crazy thing.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, Robert Picardo's still around, so if they wanted to,
so we could see what happened.
Yeah, want to see what happened with them two. They want to still
Can you imagine
proceed
those
on that.
kids?
Yeah,
they just turned back to Mogwais.
It's still what you're saying. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Well, more of like a hairless Mogwai.
Oh, I see. I see.
It's like a hairless cat.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Try to think of that and sleep tonight.
Nope. No, I mean, that is one of the weird things, though. Whenever these things do switch from Mogwai to Gremlins, is the only trait that they really keep is the big ears.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden they go from...
Maybe a little bit of facial expression or, like, facial structure or whatever.
Yeah, just a little bit. I don't know, but, you know, they go from short little arms and legs and stubby little kind of fingers and toes to claws and stuff. Long legs.
Long arms. Scaly, not furry.
Mm-hmm. Little spikes on their back and stuff. I don't know. It's still, to me, it's a fun franchise to visit from time to time and just check out.
Yeah, I'll definitely be looking for that on one of the digital platforms for cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, one of the other scenes, too. That's...
And you know, I'm going to make a comment that's going to sound...
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was just... It's going to be very controversial to say this, and I told Brad this, and I kind of detest the waters since he's way into this other franchise, but I honestly put Gremlins and Gremlins 2 kind of in the same category as Alien and Aliens. And the reason for that is I love both of them, but they're not the same style and tone of movie. Like Alien leans more for the horror, Aliens leans more for the action. Gremlins leans more for the horror side with some of the comedy, but there's some legit horror scenes in it. Gremlins 2 is a straight up comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love both of them probably equally. It's just for completely different reasons, just like I would with Alien and Aliens.
Absolutely the same.
Yeah. I can see that comparison. It's just wild to see a franchise with the first two movies have two almost completely different themes.
Yeah. And, I mean, let's be honest, the second one basically destroyed the franchise, but that's fine.
Specifically for Gremlins.
Yeah. Yeah.
just to clarify.
So the other scene, too, that's kind of reminiscent of the scene in the first Gremlins is when Kate is talking about a man who reminded her about Abe Lincoln.
I forgot about that.
And it's so stupid, like, but that's the point, right? Like,
right.
They're making fun of that scene where they had the kind of heart-to-heart in the middle of this whole apocalyptic-looking, like, thing that was happening to the town. And she starts talking about the Abe Lincoln thing, and you're like, wait a second, where did this come from? Oh.
Yeah.
And it's so ridiculous that they, like, don't even let her finish the story, which is...
Right.
Right.
And if you
we don't have
close
time
enough,
for this.
Well, if you look close enough, you can actually see, like, as Zach Galligan's, like, moving her out of frame, you can actually see his face, like, he's breaking character and starting to laugh.
Right.
Like...
Yeah, which I didn't realize. And, you know, you don't notice that during, like, the first viewing, but as you're doing more research and stuff, like, for all this, I was reading about that. I was like, oh, that's good. Because it does, you know, stop capture on him. Like, oh my God, he is breaking.
Mm-hmm.
Here she is, serious as a heart attack, and he's starting to bust up.
I mean, of all days, Lincoln's birthday. I mean, like I mean, it's such a minor thing on the calendar.
Where you have Christmas as like a staple for most Americans, or we'll say most traditional Americans.
Yeah, you think like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter.
Exactly.
Those are kind of the big ones, but Lincoln's birthday. I mean, you might as well have like Arbor Day or something.
Pretzel Day.
Right.
Yeah. National Hamburger Day.
Isn't that Fridays?
In my world, it's every Friday, but that's, you know.
Yeah, the thing with Phoebe Cates, it's after Gremlins 2. I mean, she kind of just didn't really leave Hollywood, but she just, her and Kevin Kline were married, and she just wanted to focus on family stuff. She really only has a handful of roles after this. Drop Dead Fred's probably the best known one.
Mm-hmm.
But she did reprise her role as Kate in the Lego Dimensions, the video games add-on.
Oh, interesting.
Or at least I guess maybe she recorded new dialogue. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Those Dimensions were something that I never got into, which, crazy me, I love the Lego games. I love Lego, but the Dimensions things was just, it wasn't for me. The idea of it I loved, but it just, if I could just get the game and not have to buy all the Lego things with it, then I would have done that, even though I'm a huge Lego fan. But
well, that was that Toys to Life fad for a few years. That the only one left standing is the Nintendo. What do they call them? Was it Mii's? Not Mii's.
Oh, Amiibos.
Amiibos, yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which, I mean, the figures in and of itself you can't really get a lot of Nintendo figures, really. So the figures are actually kind of cool. I just buy the figures for the figurines.
Right.
But, yeah, it's one of those weird things that happened and disappeared.
The weird thing about the Dimensions thing, which I didn't know until recently, was the thing that I knew was you'd get, like, the original set was like $100, which is probably the reason I never got into it. But you had to have that in order to get all the add-ons. But each one came with, like, you build like your little Lego figures from the pack, and then you get a code that you could get that basically add-on. But each one was themed, and they had all these movie franchises. They had a Doctor Who one, which is, they almost hooked me on that one, but I'm like, I'm not gonna spend $100 to jump into this. But like, they had a Gremlins one, and I've seen some footage on it. I'm like, yeah, it looks kind of like, it looks all right, looks fun. I mean, they all look fun, but I'm not gonna spend $30 on content that I'm probably gonna spend a half hour on. Because they weren't very long.
Yeah, you'd have
But
to...
they worked on every console. That's the thing that blew my mind, was they weren't console specific. They worked on 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4, and the Wii U, and your code that you would get would work on all of them. Which I thought that was kind of wild.
Yeah, kind of a neat idea. I've never played any of the Dimensions games.
I tried to get them without the actual physical part, and apparently they didn't sell them without that because I didn't want to spend that much for it. Right. And I guess the reason why was because you're essentially just buying a code, and they just didn't want to sell the codes by themselves. And now they're a good 3-4 years old. Good luck finding a lot of them.
Right. Yeah, because the one for Gremlins looks like it was 2015, maybe?
It was November 2016.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Another one of those things that came and went.
Right. So you guys got anything more about the movies?
No, not specifically. We kind of touched on kind of a lot of our favorite parts of the second one, which again that is a rabbit hole.
Right.
Oh,
we could spend a while on the second one.
And it's one of those movies that the plot really doesn't matter. It's more the insanity that goes on throughout the movie. Don't even pay attention. The story, the only reason the story's in there is just so they can make the movie. What matters in that movie is just all the silliness that goes on in the middle.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and of course with movies, you got to have memorabilia and merchandising. I don't know. I mean, from what I remember, I've got the series of 5 story albums that were from Hardee's that were 99 cents each. I actually went downstairs and grabbed them and was taking a look through some of the books and stuff like that and played a little of the first one just to kind of see, was it actual audio from the movie, but because it had been so long since I'd listened to them. And no, it was just kind of a story retelling, and when it's time to turn the page, it makes this little noise, and you turn the page, and it just reads right along with it. So, interesting stuff.
What kind of noise does it make? Is it a gremlin noise?
No, it's just kind of like you would expect, like some magic wand kind of.
Oh, I was expecting turn the page.
No, it doesn't do any yum yum or anything like that.
Yum yum.
As far as stuffed toys, I mean, I never had any of the stuffed toys. Now, Brad, you said you had a stuffed
I had Gizmo.
Yeah,
I did, and I very much liked that toy. Have no idea where it went. No, you know what? I take that back. Eventually, I parted ways with it on like a yard sale thing that we were doing. Got rid of a bunch of stuffed toys because when you're young, you don't understand like things that you may want to have held on to. But I'm sure somebody else got some cool use out of it. So
yeah, hopefully it's still in existence and not in a landfill somewhere.
Ooh, yeah, I don't know about that.
You never know. But I know that there was a lot of different little stuffed toys and things like that. The only figure I ever really had was the Flasher Gremlin Funko Pop that I already mentioned. I did have some of the collectible cards from Topps. I only had some from the first movie. I don't even remember seeing any for the second movie. I wasn't really paying attention to a second Gremlins. I loved the first one. I just never really watched and paid much attention to the fact that there was a second one until the last so many years when like I said, I've only seen it a couple times. I did find some Gremlins, like board games and Gremlins Uno, which I did not even know that a Gremlins Uno existed. I did see that they're making a He-Man Uno game, though. Like, wow, they're just going to make Uno out of everything now. So with new rules.
Will that be added to your collection?
No. Nope. And I do remember there was a Gremlins cereal. I would imagine I had it, at least a box of it. And there was a giveaway on the back that you mailed in so many proof of purchases and like $10, and they would send you a stuffed Gizmo figure, but I didn't have that or nothing.
Oh, I wonder if that's how my parents got it.
Maybe. But it's like nowadays you can find all sorts of great collectible figurines and stuff from Gremlins. It's like there's more merchandise now than there was back then.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing. I mean, that just goes to show a lot of the 80s, 90s stuff that we grew up with. You get people that grew up in that area that are now in charge of bigger companies that make these things, the things they wish they had as a kid, I guess.
Right. Yeah, and talking about video games, I've never owned any of the video games. Atari had one for, I guess, the 2600 and maybe the 5200 and 7800. So I was watching a video on that on YouTube. Thank you, YouTube, for having all sorts of great information out there. It was like a playthrough, and it was just a horrible Kaboom and Space Invaders kind of mashup. From what I was watching, I was like, oh. I'm sure I've got the ROMs, and I could probably give it a try just to see what it would be like. It was just weird, you know. It was based on the first one, I guess. And you're moving your character, which is, I guess, supposed to be Billy, but it looks like some bald old man. You move your character side to side to catch the falling mogwai to keep them from getting to these 8 burgers that are on the ground, you know, spread out. And then the Gremlin screen has you're the player, and you're looking up towards the top of the screen, and the Gremlins are walking down from the top, kind of like a Space Invaders thing, but they're just coming straight down, not going side to side or nothing. And if they go through the water, then they multiply into 2. It's just kind of weird. The person that was doing the playthrough or discussion on YouTube on the video was not too fond of it.
Yeah, I would imagine that would kind of be one of those stories that would be hard to make a game out of.
Yeah.
Although, I did think of the mechanic of, I don't know if you guys have ever played Alan Wake, but the flashlight mechanic that they use, I feel like that could be a good basis for a great Gremlins game.
Yeah, maybe.
You kind of have like a limited battery power, then it has to recharge, so you can only use it for so long. You mix Alan Wake with some kind of like zombie bunch of gremlins running around. I don't know, you might have something.
Yeah. I know in the Gremlin Stripe versus Gizmo game for the Game Boy Advance in 2002, from what I looked at, it looked like it had pretty nice animation, but you actually used a flashlight as Gizmo to melt the gremlins. You would stun them with this little like rolling ball attack or something, and then you would melt them with your flashlight. But it had some weird scrolling effects that might lead you to, if you were susceptible to motion sickness, you might not do too well with it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. The most popular one that I'm familiar with, but have never played, but I always seen the case and the cover art, is Gremlins 2 for the Nintendo. Back in 1990 from Sunsoft. But Sunsoft
I remember Sunsoft had like the best music too.
Yeah, they just always had good animation.
Much better than LJN.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I did watch a video an attempted playthrough of this, and it's one of those games that seems to be fairly short, but it looks fantastic for the NES.
Oh yeah.
And it looks hard as hell too.
Yeah, what I watched looked very challenging.
I mean, it's like there were a couple of moments in there that the dudes that were playing it got stuck for a long time, and they finally just had to cut the video and then sit down and try to beat it because they're like, this is boring for everybody. And I would have given up at that point, but they kept on going, eventually beat it and turned on the recording again. But yeah, I think filled with stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the playthrough I watched, you don't see a gremlin until like level 2, something like that.
Yeah, it's that weird thing with a lot of movie tie-in NES games where there's a lot of crap in it going on that's okay, but it's supposed to be a Gremlins game. Where are the gremlins? Like,
right. Yeah, and Gizmo bouncing around on a little pogo stick. I'm like, I didn't understand that. As your invincibility move or something?
Yeah, there's some strange stuff in that one.
Mm-hmm.
But the cutscenes they look, I would say, better than some of the SNES stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, then you got Gremlins Unleashed for the Game Boy Color, which came out in 2001. I guess this was a UK-only game. And it reminds me of whenever I was on the IGN message boards or whatever. One of his username was Half Joey. I always remember this because he always had the image of Gizmo kind of walking, and this is the same graphics that he apparently was using for that GIF. And you get to play as either Gizmo or Stripe. And the animations were pretty nice for it, especially for a Game Boy Color. It looked pretty nice. And then we already kind of touched on the Lego Dimensions Gremlins add-on in 2016. Looks good. I mean, from the videos and stuff that I was watching of it.
And, yeah, I mean, honestly, all those... I'm, like I said, a fan of kind of all the Lego ones. They're all the same, basically, and you know what you're doing. But with a lot of those, there can be a rabbit hole, and there's a lot of crap to find in them, and some of them are not easy to find all the stuff you need in them, and it may be a short little game, but to get all the things, sometimes it can take a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to invest in the Dimensions. No, too much. Too much.
For sure.
All right, so if they do come back out with a new Gremlins movie, would you want original cast members like Zach and Phoebe to come back and reprise their roles as Billy and Kate?
I don't know. I think that might be interesting, but it also might be interesting to just reboot the franchise. And that's kind of heresy, but let's be real. When you think of like a really great sci-fi movie, The Thing, most people think of, I believe, John Carpenter's version in the 80s versus the original.
Very true.
So there's good things that come out of reboots and redos. Not always, but, you know, every once in a while.
Or what if they just reprise the roles as a small part?
And again, that maybe, you know, they do kind of a Force Awakens kind of variant where they're kind of sprinkled in there. They're kind of background noise. They've seen it before. They're the voice of reason. I don't know. Yeah, I'd be okay with. I'd be okay with just kind of anything.
Yeah, I would definitely see it. I would definitely watch it.
Definitely a popcorn flick, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things that Dante said was whenever he was trying to do Gremlins 2, well, borderline forced into, he said, you know, one of the problems with Gremlins 2 is that it's a case of a sequel made too late. Because it had been 6 years between the first and second one, and he said, you know, sometimes that's just too much time has elapsed between sequels, and so I think making Gremlins 3, which would be 30 years after the second one, you'd almost have to reboot it.
Right.
And you'd need a really small budget.
And that's the other problem that I would have with the Gremlins 3 is, or even if they just rebooted it and just called it Gremlins, part of the charm of the first two Gremlins was the practical effects. And you know that now if they made it, it's going to be rampant with CGI all the way through. And, you know, part of, I say part of its charm is the practical effects, but part of it is there's something that makes it almost timeless, because if it's CG, within 5 years it's going to look dated. But if you have practical effects, you know, that doesn't really age quite as quickly. So if they could reboot it but use mostly practical effects, yeah, I'd be curious.
I 1,000% agree, because I was just telling Sarah about that, how, you know, while some of the stop motion looks a little like jittery or whatever you want to say, some of the
it's a little janky.
Some of the character models might be a little out of place or whatever. It's still there. It's still real, and you might not know, but your brain did.
Right. Yeah, it's like I think Gremlins 1 ages really well.
Oh, I would say so, yeah.
Just because it's like actual puppets. in the most part.
Mm-hmm. And with the second one, you can see the leap in technology from 1 to 2 in the puppetry. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's some of that puppetry in the second one looks phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you got to figure, just thinking about what movies came out between then up to 90, I mean, you had things like Aliens, who made that giant queen puppet. And, you know, maybe even a couple years after that, you're going to have dinosaurs from Jurassic Park. So, yeah, the technology jumped forward quite a bit in just that short 6 years.
Yep, I think it could do well as long as it's got some decent people behind it that actually care about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I think would be the biggest thing. It's people that actually care about the franchise to do it and do it right.
As opposed to a studio cash grab.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, that's pretty much all I've got for Gremlins. It's a nice thing that I would always enjoy watching whenever I get a chance.
Yeah, and I will say the first Gremlins pops up on TV fairly often still. Second one, not so much, but the first one definitely does.
Yeah, second one is that's been kind of a hidden gem almost.
Yeah, you gotta hunt that one out.
Diamond in the rough, if you will.
Yeah. So I guess that just leaves letting us know what you think of the movie. So reach out to us by any means necessary and let us know what you think about this. That's pretty much all I got, so I guess we will talk to them again in the future, right, guys?
You betcha.
Yep, when we get back from the past.
Excuse me, sir. Before you go, I wanted to tell you that I am truly sorry for what's happened. And if you would accept it, I'd like to give you this small token. This is the only one. There's one other one, but this is an invention of mine.
Smokeless ashtray.
How did you know that?
Man at gas station tried to sell me. Latest word in technology. Very generous of you. I'm sure it will come in handy.
Well, that's the story. So if your air conditioner goes on the fritz, or your washing machine blows up, or your video recorder conks out, before you call the repairman, turn on all the lights, check all the closets and cupboards, look under all the beds, because you never can tell. There just might be a gremlin in your house.
Delta Airlines just turned 100 and is already shaping the next century of flight with the Delta Sustainable Skies Lab. Here, they're building the future of flight. Think electric air taxis and next-gen aircraft aiming to cut fuel burn significantly. And this isn't just future talk. Today, their fleet of Boeing 737s have marine-like finlets designed to reshape airflow that reduces drag. The future of travel is more sustainable, and Delta's leading the way. Learn more at delta.com/sustainability.